Hear Jason Wilde, Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher. Live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It is the Friday edition. I'm not sure if I would say that I owe Jesse an apology, but I may be experiencing some Jesse-like symptoms soon. I'll explain momentarily. Edition.
What?
You'll understand. You'll get it when I tell you. The green and growing edition. You know what that means. It means that Tausch has another day off. And we've got a cousin sub of the day. Can you guess who it is? Edition. And we need $400+ million over the next 20 years to fix up AmFam Field. Otherwise, Rob Manfred's going to move the team? Edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming video, which will be a first for our cousin sub of the day, I believe. But he stood in front of fans before Bucks playoff games. He's not shy. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, and it's on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from some sort of location, our cousin sub of the day, Bucks don't stop here. He is our Bucks buddy. Been a while since he was our cousin sub of the day. You hear him on the Bucks Radio Network. He is Justin Garcia. JG! How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good morning, guys. A lot to talk about in terms of the NBA playoffs and our Bucks still in it, which is what I initially thought. When Tausch reached out 2 months ago, basically, giving ample time for this, I had said, I don't think I can do that because the Bucks are going to be in the conference finals at that point. It's going to be tough to pull off the timing of it, and lo and behold, here we are.
Instead, the Miami Heat have lost back-to-back games in the Eastern Conference Finals after being up 3-0, and now it's 3-2 heading back to South Florida. Are you watching this, or are you just so focused on your performance art of wrestling that you're not really paying attention to the NBA anymore?
First of all, it's sports entertainment, and my fandom has slipped a little bit with the sports entertainment. No, I've still been invested with this playoffs, and part of it, I'm sure, is why it's been the case or the same for most other Bucks fans, and it's kind of the spite watch of, okay, there's no way this is going to keep happening. It's like Jesse Pinkman talking about Walter White. He can't keep getting away with this. I think that's what fans feel like when they watch the Heat. Like, all right, it has to end. Maybe the Knicks can take them down, the cute story Knicks, and they didn't. They're up 3-0 against the Celtics, and now we're at that point of has the clock struck midnight. So now I'm fully in to just see, all right, can they take this all the way to the finals?
Jesse has said previously that the Heat's success makes him feel better about the Bucks losing. Is that a correct quote, Jesse?
Yes. Yep. Team of Destiny type stuff. If a team of Destiny's getting hot at the right time, makes me feel a lot better about my favorite team losing to them if they go on and make a huge run. Mm-hmm.
Where do you stand on this, Justin Garcia, sir?
No, it doesn't. If the Heat make the finals, it doesn't soften the blow. Like, well, at least you lost to the team that's representing the conference. No, it was still a bad series, still one that's going to be tough to really erase from your memory, even worse than what we saw in the bubble. So there's a very, very small part of you that it's not even vindication. It's like, all right, well, I guess it wasn't just an outright disaster all on the Bucks, that this Heat team really had something, but that's very minimal.
No, it's a huge part of it. When the Packers got hot in 2010, I knew friends who were fans of the Chicago Bears, the Atlanta Falcons, that ultimately, even when the Packers went on and won the Super Bowl, Bears fans aren't, of course, they're not happy their team lost. Of course, they're not happy that they lost to the Packers of all teams. But there was a little bit in them that was like, at least it was the team that needed to win the final 2 games of the season, got in, and then you look back on it. I was listening to Joe and Amber last night on ESPN Radio. Good show, 6 to 8 p.m. And they were talking about teams of destiny over the last couple of decades. The Giants in '07. As a Packers fan, yeah, it's a devastating loss that they lost in overtime in that NFC Championship game. But the fact that the Giants then went and beat the undefeated Patriots the following week makes you feel better about it. When the Brewers lost to the Cardinals in 2011, when it felt like everything was stacked up for the Brewers to win a World Series, the Cardinals went on and won the World Series. It makes you feel better that those teams go on and win the whole thing, because at least you feel like you ran into a team of destiny. And that's what the Heat feel like right now. The way that they've combed through the Eastern Conference playoffs, and hopefully they get it done against the Celtics in one of these next 2 games, they're the team of destiny, and it makes you feel better that they beat everybody in the conference, including starting with the Bucks in round 1.
Am I the only one that's surprised that Jesse has enough friends that he has an Atlanta Falcons fan friend
Kyle.
in his power rankings?
In a while. I was thinking about that as I was driving around listening to that show last. I was like, you know what? I wonder if Kyle, if he's still a Falcons fan. Reached out to him just to confirm that. Yep. Falcons fan.
Is he from the Atlanta area?
No.
So
Central Illinois.
Michael Vick.
Just loves Steve Bartkowski.
I think it was the color scheme, yeah.
So wait, so you think, by the way, a bold take to say that the Heat are a team of destiny after the last 2 games.
Yeah, the team of destiny is playing in the West. I think that's what's been the most apparent about this playoff so far.
No, that's not a team of destiny. That's a juggernaut is what the Nuggets are. They're the number 1 team. They're the best team in the West. They made it out like that's a really, really good team. Teams of destiny are these teams that sneak in like the Cardinals in that playoffs in 2011, St. Louis Cardinals, like the Packers in 2010.
Like the Packers in 2003 until 4th and 26.
Yes, those are teams of destiny. And that's what the Heat are. Like they had to win the final play-in game just to be in the playoffs. And now they're hopefully going to get this done.
It's a little more complicated than that. Yes, that point is accurate. And they were 3 minutes away from being bounced from the tournament, that everybody thought the Heat would win that first play-in game. They'd play the Celtics. I wish that would have been the case in the first round. And they trailed the Bulls after just getting embarrassed by the Hawks on their home floor in the first one. They trailed the Bulls with about 3 or 4 minutes left in the second play-in game for the 8th seed. So to that point, yeah, they snuck in. They finished with the 7th best record in the East. They had a lot of injuries throughout the year. And we always talk about man games lost. For most of the season, the Heat, the Cavs were 2 of the teams with the most man games lost to injury throughout the season. Bucks were there early. Magic had the most by far. But the Heat and the Cavaliers, in terms of playoff teams, had the most games lost to an injured player or players out of the lineup due to injury. So that was a big factor. And, it's something we would talk about every time Miami came to town, that I think it's still – you get a little PTSD after the bubble. We thought there was a release there when you beat them and swept them 2 years ago in the first round. But I would talk about this a lot with Dave Kane, actually, who, to his credit, was the first to bring up, I get what we see on paper here, that this team shouldn't be in the conversation with teams like the Bucks, with teams like the Celtics, even what the Cavs did early in the season. But how is this Heat team any different from what they were last year? They finished with the best record in the East. They were the 1 seed last year. They were a Jimmy Butler three-pointer away from playing in the finals last year, and the only loss was P.J. Tucker. So you've replaced P.J. Tucker with Kevin Love and Cody Martin. That's it. Like, this team, I think we slept on them all season long, and what this playoff run has shown you is the importance of being healthy in the postseason, because Kyle Lowry, they took it very easy with him and kind of worked him into the lineup. And the team that is the most healthiest is going to be the team that is the deadliest, and that's what we've seen with Miami. They were basically the lion in sheep's clothing all season.
Are you surprised they've had the success they've had without Tyler Hero, or is that not surprising to you?
I'm surprised the offense has done what it has without Tyler Hero. I am not surprised at their defensive connectivity. I think that's, obviously the biggest knock on Tyler Hero. And if they do advance to the finals, that's going to be an interesting conversation of, well, this works without him. When we basically have Kevin Love, depending on the matchup, like, that's the guy you would target defensively. If we work Tyler Hero back in against a great offense in the Denver Nuggets, that gives us somebody that the opponent can attack. Hasn't been the case with him out there, that you've had more two-way players that have been playing. You miss a lot offensively, but you know what offsets that is when you're shooting at a record clip from three throughout the postseason. So they haven't really needed Tyler Hero shooting.
So we had you on during the first-round playoff series, and I expressed to you then that the matchup made me nervous. I'm not an expert. That's why we have you on. But it made me nervous, and then it played out the way it did, and obviously the injury to Giannis was some measure of a factor, whatever percentage you'd like to say it was. It wasn't zero, right? It was something that factored in to some degree. It leads to Coach Mike Budenholzer being fired. We want to talk about that during our time with you. But I have a confession to make first to Jesse. Jesse, how many days without Becca are you on now?
Today is, I believe, day 11 of 18. Yep. Double check it. I'm actually keeping notes each day so I can recap the experience.
That she misses you at any level compared to how much you miss her?
Yes. Actually. So we were able to text yesterday. She didn't know her phone doesn't work when she's in Canada. So when she's not connected to internet. So it's been multiple days that they've been camping and adventuring and all this stuff. I have gone totally blank on even hearing from her. So yesterday was the first day in a few days that worked out. But then she's going to go off the grid again here pretty soon. But yeah, today is day 11. 11 of 18. Long stretch here.
So Paula and the girls are packing up right now, and they are headed to Chicago to spend the weekend with their Auntie Vicky. Paula's taking them down there. She's going to stay and spend some time with her. Vicky's not technically her sister, but she's a sister-like character. They're going to be gone between 48 and 60 hours, depending upon when they decide to come back on Sunday. And I am eager to get a lot of things done around here, because on my to-do list, there are always many things that I don't get to because other people ask me to do other things. But I'm a little worried that I'm going to get, the universe is going to come back on me because I've teased you about how much you miss your sweetie pie. And I don't have to go 18 days. Yeah. I couldn't do 18 days.
Jesse a man? He needs Becca. He needs his Becca around. That's what they're tweeting in.
Yeah, I didn't call you. I didn't say you weren't a man. I mean, there's other reasons that I question your masculinity, but that's not one of them. You miss your wife.
107983 said that to me, and I'm not very happy about it.
Sounds like a Russian bot to me. So, I'm just curious, have you generated any tips that you would have in your 11 days without her? For me, I've still got 2 dogs, 6 cats, a hamster, and some fish to take care of, so I'm not completely alone like you've been. But do you have one good tip for me to get me through these next 48-plus hours?
Household projects and load up on getting together with friends. How you going to do on that?
Household projects, not a problem. Getting together with friends. I was thinking maybe if I get most of my chores done, I could finally watch Air so we could all talk about it.
That's good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's basically my entertainment goal.
I
the
did
rest
that
of
on
it,
Wednesday. Yeah.
I'm not going to go out drinking with Matt Schneidman.
Yeah, you
on
Schneidman and
Washington
Domovsky.
Street.
You all got a 3-day weekend here. You, Schneidman, and Domovsky. Saturday night, get out somewhere and just shut the place down.
So I think 844-770-3776 is the talk and text line. You don't need to call, but I would love your texts on. I got like a 48-plus hour window. I got a lot that I want to accomplish. So let me be clear. This is not some sort of vacation from Paula and the girls. But if I'm going to do one fun thing when I'm not getting stuff done, what would you recommend? 844-770-3776. You can also tweet that in on the Wilde Tausch Twitter feed. Justin, do you have a suggestion before we go to break?
I got a couple for
Break
the
down
weekend.
some WWE film.
Yeah, I was going to say, so there's 3 premium live events this weekend. So is that 3 separate things, or is that just one thing?
We're going to get into this later because I consider you a good friend. I think of you very highly, and I also like Gabe Neitzel a ton. But I caught a little bit of Good Karma Wrestling last night on YouTube, and I'm not sure how 2 people I like as much as I do talk about wrestling like it's not performance art, or what did you call it, sports entertainment? Yeah. Like, he's talking about how you can't CM Punk, you can't be throwing chairs at people.
Well, you can't.
Well,
it's illegal.
If the script says you're supposed to,
No. I mean, we could spend 3 hours alone on the CM Punk incident he's referring to at
Whoa, Nelly! Thank you, Jesse. All right, we'll come up with some things for me to do for fun, but your first suggestion is a non-starter. Our show has started with one of our favorite cousin subs. It's been too long, frankly. We've had some people that are, pretty big stars, right? We've had Brian Balaga, we've had Joe Thomas, but we haven't had our Bucks buddy in a while. We've got him here today, and I want his thoughts on the Bucks coaching search. I don't think he's on the committee that's conducting the interviews as far as I know, so he's not giving away any inside information, but we'll get Justin's thoughts on the Bucks coaching search next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Are you ready for a new shower this spring? Well, if you are, Kohler Services is a local end-to-end bath and shower design and remodel service brought to you by Kohler, a family-owned business in Wisconsin for 150 years. Kohler is the only manufacturer offering fast professional installation and care for life. Start enjoying your bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit kswisconsin.com to request your free quote and tell them that I sent you. Again, that's kswisconsin.com.
Win a round of golf for 2 at the Bridges or the Meadows at 6 Mile Creek from Guinness. Stop by for a pint at LJ Sports Tavern, Danny's Pub, Echo Tap, and Nitty Gritty downtown and scan the QR code to enter. Show me your Guinness, Wisconsin.
Watch PGA Tour champions, including tournament host and Wisconsin native Steve Stricker, at the American Family Insurance Championship when it returns to University Ridge Golf Course in Madison, Friday, June 9th through Sunday, June 11th. AmFam Champ Week will also include an exciting concert featuring Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line, Friday, June 9th. Proceeds will support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and the American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com. That's amfamchampionship.com.
The happy hour at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton is still Madison's best kept secret, so shh. From delicious appetizers to amazing drinks, and of course, the ambiance provided by that Horseshoe Bar makes Ruth's Chris Steakhouse a must-go-to. From cocktails with friends, networking happy hours, or just treating the family, and everything in between, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton has everything you're looking for. So the next time you're looking to treat yourself, go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. And remember, it's Madison's best-kept secret. Shh.
Pick the car deal that is right for you at Metro Kia of Madison, like 2.9% APR financing for 48 months on the 23 Kia Forte, $22.30 per 1,000 borrowed. You'll also get a Chromebook, 4K Smart TV, or a $500 Visa gift card with purchase. Choose your own deal this month at Metro Kia of Madison, with 69 new vehicles on the lot, 90 deferred payments to qualified credit, and 2 years no-charge maintenance. Now is the time to find your deal at Metro Kia of Madison.
Huddle up for the Great Dane Huddle, live from the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Mondays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN.
It's a special Tuesday edition of the Great Dane Huddle after the Memorial Day weekend, live from the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, downtown Madison. Join me, Alex Strofe, and former Badger and NFL punter Brad Nortman in the shadow of the state capitol as we talk all things Green Bay and Wisconsin football.
The Great Dane Huddle, Mondays at 6 on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Looking to make an impact in your community? Consider applying to become a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County currently serves nearly 500 children and has over 200 waiting to be matched with a mentor like you. No skills are required, just a desire to make a difference in the lives of children. Make a big impact. Volunteer today at bbbsmadison.org to complete your application. That's bbbsmadison.org. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. Together, we are defenders of potential.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton. I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Wilde Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Yeah.
As Jesse is aware, although I wouldn't call it what he did, I did say goodbye to my sweetie. Paula and the girls are headed to Chicago, so you can keep those. I just want to do one fun thing, and not watch wrestling. As much as I would enjoy quality time with Justin Garcia, that doesn't strike me as quality. So, 844-770-3776 is the text line for your suggestions. Jesse is curating those as we speak. Justin, we have not talked to you since the immediate aftermath of Coach Bud's firing. I have talked to you privately because I thought I liked the idea of Monty Williams. And I had an inkling that maybe Giannis also would like the idea of Monty Williams. But according to the reporting from Adrian Wojnarowski, Monty Williams not in the mix anymore. And as many people posted to me on Twitter, questionable look to replace a guy who won an NBA title by beating the guy that they then replace him with. So I get that. Where do you stand as of now on the Bucks coaching search and the three names that have been reported to be atop the list?
So the Monty Williams thing, I start with that, and I've seen and heard the same things that you mentioned there of fans saying, well, I don't want the guy that Bud out coached in the finals, and then it becomes us kind of picking apart Bud's resume, which I hate. I think Bucks fans are going to learn Mike Budenholzer is an excellent coach and one of the best in the league. Now, was he elite at in-game decisions? No. You can probably count on one hand the number of coaches are. And Eric Spoelstra, I think has proven year after year he's the best coach in the league. So to be compared against that, it's a tough grading curve, but that's where the Bucs are. That I think Bud ultimately became a victim of his own success here in what he built up and how he took the Bucs from basically a perennial 7 or 8 seed to a team that was every year a contender to win a championship. So I want to get that out there. And also the lazy and tired crutch of, well, he got outcoached by Bud. Every single coach the Bucs played against that playoffs was outcoached by Bud. He outcoached Eric Spoelstra, the guy that we just sang the praises of. Bud outcoached him in the first round. He was the guy that said, look, here's how we're going to defend Jimmy Butler. Here's what we're going to do against Bam Adebayo. The Bucs swept them. He made the adjustments late in the series against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if you want to say, well, Steve Nash has proven to be not a great coach and at least not ready for what he had, that's fair. He outcoached Nate McMillan when he didn't have Giannis and down or tied in that series. And then again, outcoached Monty Williams. So I think Bud is better than we tend to give him credit for initially. I am pleased to see that softened a bit. But that was my reaction when I heard a lot of the, well, he got outcoached by Bud. He's not the only coach that's happened for. In terms of the 3 guys that are out there, the Nick Nurse thing to me, it's still, I'm not going to say startling, but it did raise eyebrows late in the season when you start to hear more and more of, I don't think Nick Nurse is going to be back in Toronto next season. And initially the reports, or what you started to hear, was that was a Nick Nurse choice. And it seemed like, hey, he wants to go to Houston, and he likes the idea of potentially getting the 1 pick and playing with these young guys. And then the Raptors just abruptly fired him. And make no mistake about it, it was a firing. It was not a mutual parting of the ways. And it should always raise eyebrows for anyone when the team or whatever profession this is, when the employer fires you and does not hold back saying, we don't think this guy was good and we didn't mesh with him personally. That should raise some eyebrows for a team that's built on culture and everything that the Bucs have built here. There's no denying Nick Nurse's defensive ability and his ability to make adjustments. But that, to me, is the biggest eyebrow raiser. And, well, what exactly would he be bringing here? It's not to say he's a bad guy. It's just interesting when the organization has no problem borderline trashing you on the way out. Adrian Griffin was an assistant of his and spent some time here in Milwaukee. I believe it was the last season in the NBA as a player, and then transitioned to assistant coach. With Adrian Griffin, you don't really know what you're getting, and we've talked about this before as well. It's difficult whenever anybody asks me, and I'm sure our pal Eric Name would feel the same way, hey, who's the best assistant coach on the staff or in the league? It's tough to answer because, this isn't the NFL where this guy's in charge of the cornerbacks. This guy calls the defensive plays. Unless you're at practice and see who's in charge of scouting that opponent, who's working on installing some of these packages, you don't know who does what. We know generally what their strength is, but you don't know exactly what they're working on. So I think that's the difficulty with Adrian Griffin and really assessing what he would bring. Kenny Atkinson, you have more of a sample on, and people can point to, well, one winning season, I think it was, in Brooklyn, and they made the playoffs once, and look at that record. It wasn't a good team. He had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving that 1 year before they said, we want our own guy in here. So he did a good job when you talk about culture, bringing that to Brooklyn, transforming that franchise, because he inherited a group that was just coming out of everything they had been through in terms of their cap situation and the assets that they traded. He did a good job of building that team up. And offense is the strength for Kenny Atkinson. I understand he hasn't coached deep into the playoffs. At this point, other than going with a retread, not a whole lot of guys have. So that's kind of the overall look at the 3 guys. The difficulty for the Bucs is, I heard Eric Name say this, and I agree, more often than not, I would much rather go with an assistant coach who's going to bring something unique, bring a different perspective, do something different than what we know. Doc Rivers is going to do this. Mike Budenholzer, this is going to be his system. This is how Eric Spoelstra operates, and Nick Nurse. With an assistant, you don't know. Maybe you're going to get the next Nick Nurse and see some innovation. The other guys on that list, the Monty Williams, the Doc Rivers, and even Kenny Atkinson, you kind of know what to expect. So I would usually side towards, well, maybe Adrian Griffin then. So we get something different and possibly innovative. The trouble is you're 2 years away from another decision from Giannis. And you have a group that, if we're being honest here, assuming you bring back Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton, you probably, with this roster in its current state, you probably have a 2-year window with that group. So can you afford to go through what Boston was going through earlier in this season, where it was, hey, they're off to a good start, you get to the playoffs, I don't know if Joe Mazzulla is really ready for this spot.
Right.
You can't really afford that, and it kind of goes against everything I typically believe in and say, well, I think you do have to go with more of the known here, and if you just wanted to keep continuity, Kenny Atkinson would be the guy that would bring most of that because he spent a lot of time as an assistant for Bud. So that would basically be saying, we want to fix the offense. That's been the problem in the playoffs. Kenny Atkinson will do a good job of that. Kenny Atkinson has familiarity with aspects of this system and with Bud, so he can keep some of those same principles, and there'll be some comfort and familiarity with these players, but we're going to change it just enough. So I think that would be the selling point for Kenny Atkinson. And for Nick Nurse, it's this guy won a championship, won 4 straight games against us when we were up 2-0 in the finals, in the conference finals, and look what he did in the finals. I mean, that was his masterpiece, how he defended Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. It just comes down to, do you feel like you can take the risk and know enough about a guy? Maybe it's not Adrian Griffin, those are the 3 names, but know enough about any assistant to say, I believe in this guy, and I've seen enough to know he can be a very good coach at the NBA level.
This is why we do things the way we do things on this show. Because if Tausch or I tried to deliver that kind of insight, you're not getting it, period. So thank you for your service. Last question for you on this before we get to a regular, typical show where you're, telling me about wrestling and we're talking about other things. Is there a chance that there is someone else that is not on this list that Woj put out there that could come out of nowhere? If Boston loses this series, I am partial to Brad Stevens. Is there any chance he would leave the front office and go back into coaching? Because there's a guy who and again, you're the NBA guy, not me. I just really like Brad Stevens. That's what I'm basing that name on.
Yeah, a lot of people do. It doesn't sound like it based on what he said at the time that he stepped down 2 years ago, and even if you go back to the press conference that Brad Stevens and Wick Grossbeck had in September, late August, when Ime Udoka was suspended, and those were some of the first questions that came up to Brad Stevens of, hey, we're a couple of weeks away from the season. You guys were just in the finals. This is a competitive team that should be considered a favorite. Where do you go from here? Do you step down from the front office and take over as coach? And he made it clear, no, that is not going to happen. That is not in the plans here. So based on that and based on the way he worded it and everything he said about he was basically burned out and didn't have enough time for everything he wanted to do, time with his family, and just felt like he was wearing thin as an NBA head coach. It doesn't sound like Brad Stevens is interested in getting back into that, and he's proven to do a pretty good job in running a front office, too, in player personnel. So I think he's comfortable with where he's at. In terms of anybody outside of the 3, you can't say no because we don't know what's going to change. What happens, we wouldn't have thought last year that Ime Udoka, and I understand there's a whole lot behind the scenes that we frankly still don't know.
Right.
And I see a lot of people passing judgment and saying, man, the Celtics really dropped the ball here and everything else of we don't know what happened. And it's just going off of hearsay. That to me is the most remarkable thing, that we've gotten so few details on everything. In this day and age of information and everything getting out there, all we know is Ime Udoka had an inappropriate relationship with someone in that organization, nothing else. So you wouldn't have thought, point being, he wouldn't be coaching the Celtics this season. Even this playoff run, look at the amount of coaches, good coaches, that have been fired. And you can say, well, you predicted it with Doc. You predicted it with Monty Williams after those 2 exits in the playoffs. Even some degree Bud when you lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Although the previous, 5 times that had happened that a 1 seed lost, the coach was not fired. But you just you can't say with certainty, no, nobody else is going to enter the picture here, because who knows if Eric Spoelstra, I'm not predicting this to happen, but who knows if he says, you know what, I'm going to take a year or so off. I'm just going to step down and I'm going to move on and look for something else. Joe Mazzulla could be available. I'm not saying, hey, you should hire Joe Mazzulla, but if the Celtics fall short here and look bad in Game 6, they could move on from him as well. So it seems like that's the list for now. I've seen people say, hey, the decision could come any day now. I don't know if we're there yet, because what's the incentive right now? I mean, you obviously need somebody in place prior to the draft and free agency, but you might as well wait to see, does anything else pop up? We have a generational talent. We feel like we're a team that can win a championship. Let's make sure we look under every single stone here and every option is explored.
If you joined this conversation late, be sure to check out Wisconsin On Demand, presented by Grubel Offices. One call, that's all. Thanks to David and his team for supporting the show and for supporting Wisconsin On Demand. Grubel Offices, one call, that's all. Because all those times where we don't talk enough Bucks, we got one of the preeminent minds that come when it comes to the Bucks. I don't know about some of the other choices he makes in his life. That's a discussion for another day, including at sports entertainment. We'll talk about sports entertainment. We'll talk about Aaron Rodgers. He always provides entertainment. And we'll check in with a few of your suggestions for fun things I can do while the girls are gone. Next, it's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
As the official vodka of PGA Tour champions and the American Family Championship, Tito's Handmade Vodka is bringing a taste of the good stuff to days on the course. If you're at the tournament, be sure to cool down with a Tito's Transfusion at the Tito's Stillhouse Lounge. The Stillhouse Lounge is open to the public and located on the player's left of the 14th green. Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
When you're injured, call Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 30 years and proudly partnering with Wilde Tausch. Miss any of the show? Find it with Wisconsin On Demand. Presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Jim Rutledge here, and thanks to Carbon World Health, I'm not your run-of-the-mill gym. I'm stronger and healthier than I've ever been thanks to my friends at Carbon World Health. My journey started with the 6-week experience. You should do the same. You'll get a consultation with Dr. Nestor Rodriguez, a training plan just for you, cryo treatments, blood work, just to name a few things. I am the fittest, healthiest, and lightest I've been in years thanks to the team at Carbon World Health. Sign up today at carbonworldhealth.com.
Are you dreaming of a new look? Let the pros at 5 Star Painting bring color to your world, to your interior, exterior, cabinets, and more. We make it easy with online scheduling, free on-site estimates, and a dedicated project manager on every job. Uneasy about hiring a contractor? We know, we've been there. 5 Star Painting is customer-focused and quality-driven, exceeding expectations every time. Call or visit 5starpainting.com today. 5 Star Painting, a neighborly company.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them.
Financing. Your new room just got even more affordable. The Memorial Day sales event, only at Steinhoffels and Steinhoffels.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. Well, it's always a good time to get that special someone in your life a beautiful gift. And when I'm in need of a new piece of jewelry, Chalmers Jewelers is my go-to place. Whether I want a timeless classic or a one-of-a-kind piece, Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison has just what I'm looking for. My life has been made so much easier thanks to the great team over at Chalmers Jewelers, and is the reason I keep going back for more. Visit chalmersjewelers.com to find your perfect new piece of jewelry today.
When poison happens, Poison Help is here. We're the free 24/7 hotline that answers your poison questions with expert advice available at no charge. Make the right call in a poison emergency. Call Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Continuing with Justin Garcia, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Justin, do you miss Aaron Rodgers yet?
Well, it's so right now, no, because we never really had him over the summer anyway. It wasn't until the fall. So I will once we get to September.
And Jordan Love has his ups and downs. But we have not talked about him in a while, which it kind of felt good, frankly. Like, yeah, it's great that he's in New York and it's a dream and everything else. Then he went on Adam Shine's Shine on Sports on Mad Dog Radio on Sirius XM. Jesse, have you listened to the entirety of this interview now?
I have not. No, Tausch said he did yesterday. He was listening. I don't know if he was when he was going to the Dells, home from the Dells.
I thought you guys rode together, but you didn't. You went separately.
No, that's like we ride together for these road trips like maybe once a year. We burned up our one when we went down to AmFam Field a couple weeks ago. Maybe we'll get one more at some point this summer. But no, big fella likes to travel solo.
And if you have to stop and pee, he wouldn't let you stop. So that's a drawback to riding with old T. All right, so in this interview, among the things that Rodgers talks about with Adam Shine is how much it would mean for him and for the city of New York and for Jets fans, long-suffering Jets fans, to have him lead their team to a Super Bowl. Here is Aaron Rodgers talking about those expectations and hopes.
Last night I was watching a 30 for 30 on the 86 Mets.
Oh,
yes! Kevin Mitchell fan. I was always a big Kevin Mitchell fan growing up. He was a Giant and had a big year in 1989 where he hit like 47 home runs and drove in 125. And that team of him and Will Clark and Robbie Thompson and Rick Russell and Candy Maldonado and Jose Uribe. I just loved that team, but I really loved Kevin Mitchell. And Kevin was on the 86 Mets. He was a rookie, and he had the second hit of the inning and actually scored the tying run on the wild pitch when Mookie Wilson was at bat. But the reason I'm telling the story is, the Mets fans, many Mets fans are Jets fans. Obviously, the Jets, used to be in Long Island, and a ton of fans from that area. And you see just the reaction from the Mets fans was so incredible during that time, and many people don't know the entire story, but they were down 3-2 and came back in that last game and were able to pull it off, down 2 runs in extra innings in the 10th there on the Buckner error, which actually put them ahead to win the game 6-5, and then came back in the 7th and won to win the World Series. But just the reaction from the fans was so classic, and just you realize how special it would be to win a championship anywhere, obviously, but I think especially here in New York with the team that hasn't been in the playoffs in 12 years and obviously hasn't been back to the Super Bowl since Broadway Joe.
So here's why I wanted to do that today. Not because of how much it would mean to win it for New York, and he correctly points out 12. I mean, we say it all the time on this show. The Jets haven't been to the playoffs in as long as it's been since the Packers won the Super Bowl. So if you're a Packers fan, try to put yourself in a Jets fan's shoes and going 12 years without even making the playoffs. Longest streak in the 4 major sports actively right now. But here's why I found that to be entertaining. He just can't help himself. He's always got to show you how smart he is and what a great memory he has. I mean, I don't need the recap of the 86 Mets. I don't need the starting lineups for the San Francisco Giants, but he just can't help it. And he's, again, we did 4 years of radio. That is authentic. Like his brain is a supercomputer. It's incredible. But he wanted to get a Rick Russell reference in there, Candy Maldonado, and then break down how Game 6 unfolded. He is one of a kind. He is definitely unique.
Though I'm glad you mentioned those names, because to me, that was the takeaway of, look, I know when somebody is trying to sell me something and BSing me here, and it was that. If you're going to mention those guys, where credit to Aaron Rodgers for knowing this is how you do it. You obviously don't mention the stars. You mention these beloved role players of course I remember this guy. I remember watching that team. And also, Aaron Rodgers and I are roughly the same age. I'm a couple years older than him. I barely remember Kevin Mitchell. I obviously know him. I barely remember Kevin Mitchell as a player. And Aaron Rodgers is younger than me. Like, you loved Kevin Mitchell. You were 5 years old when Kevin Mitchell was playing for the Giants.
I remember him catching a ball barehanded in the outfield.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. But and that he was shaped kind of like me, with a lot more hand-eye coordination to hit home runs. Jesse, when you listened to that, did you think the same way Justin and I did?
Yeah, and it's the honeymoon phase. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. He's in the honeymoon phase. He's wooing everyone. The fans love him. Oh, look at the true New Yorker, Aaron Rodgers, looking at Jose Uribe and those 86 Mets. Wow, look at this guy. He's totally embracing the New York culture. In fairness, we do the same thing as Packers fans. When these draft picks come to town and Tucker Kraft is talking about Lambeau Land, and he's the guy that said that, right?
Yeah, going to Culver's, Culver's at every exit.
We love it, too. We eat it up. Every fan base does this. If you have a new player coming to town, especially somebody like him, you want to know that he's not just the rental that's there for a year or two to try and be your mode to win a championship. When CeCe Sabathia came to Milwaukee, it felt like he was a Milwaukee guy for 2 months. But, boy, what a 2 months it was. Like, that's what you get when you get a guy like this in town, and he's playing the game right and spouting off about the 86 Mets. All the power to him. What a guy.
The difference is, though, and yes, Jesse makes a good point there, but Tucker Kraft is also not saying, I actually reached out to Craig Culver, and I know he did this and this, and I saw his first business that he started was here. Like, he's not overly selling it. And in fairness, Aaron Rodgers, this is what a lot of people do in job interviews. If you're interviewing with let's say a retailer that's known for their bullseye. It's, hey, I've seen you guys do this, and I love it, and I shopped here as a kid. And I know our customers are also the same as Starbucks customers, that you're going to sell that stuff too. With Aaron Rodgers, you don't need to do it. That's the biggest difference.
The only question I have is, and look, I just try to be authentic. So when I say that I jumped on the mattresses at Steinhoffel's when my parents were shopping on the Layton Avenue store between 76th and 84th Streets, I really did do that. But I'm wondering, does this work on New Yorkers? Like, I'm not here to demean our good people of Wisconsin, right? But we do want people to like us. Right? We have a little bit of an inferiority complex. We were kind of talking about that with Rob Domofsky earlier this week when he was worried that the draft is going to be a colossal catastrophe in Green Bay, which I don't know if it's going to be a catastrophe, but I said then, I understand his reservations. But does this work on New Yorkers? Like, are they hook, line, and sinkering this, he's watching the 30 for 30 on the Mets, and I didn't hear him reference Keith Hernandez because that would be too obvious. And, like, does that work on them, or are they so starved to win after all this disappointment of being a Jets fan, that he can basically say anything and they're going to eat it up until at least he starts playing. And if he doesn't play well, then they'll turn on him quickly?
That was my thought. Does it work on New Yorkers? No. Like, if this was the Giants, if this was somebody joining the Yankees, all right, man, we get it. We've won enough without you. But the fact that it is the Jets, I think it's a lot like, look, I know this person isn't right for me, but I'm happy right now. So let's see if maybe this can turn around. And I think that's kind of where the Jets are at. Like, you don't really buy this, do you? No, but we have a quarterback now. So I'm willing to put up with it.
Well, I am eager to see when the honeymoon is over, because I was looking at their schedule the other day. We were talking about it on the sideline at practice. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, if things don't start well, that they could be like 2-5 out of the chute. I'm not saying that that's what the Jets will be, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. And no one's going to care about your Mookie Wilson references if they start 2-5. But again, they can also start 5-2, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be supremely motivated this season. It'll be interesting to see at what level he plays. All right, Jesse, I see that in the trivia category there is a Golden Geese reference.
Yeah, that's us.
You guys are back. You found a new venue. Where are things at before we play?
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, last Tuesday was our last night in the nest. Our normal venue has eliminated Tuesday night trivia. Our league has been disbanded, so we are currently in search of a new venue on a new night, and so we tried our first new one last night. Drinks were great. There was no TV, so we didn't get to watch either the hockey game or the NBA game that we're on.
There was no TV?
Yeah, that was a big bummer. It was really cool. They had like an outside, like the garage door thing where the thing comes up and it's like outside. So it was a very nice night.
Dazzling detail.
Great drinks. Good trivia guy. No TV's probably a game changer, especially on Thursdays. Like, we're going to need that Thursday night football game on wherever we go. So probably a no for this venue that we tried last night.
All right, but you did play.
We did. Did not do well.
Wow. Higher level of competition, or you just played poorly?
Well, just like baseball with the new rules in play, you got to learn the new rules and the new system when you go to someone else's house. And we didn't game the system.
Sounds like a lot of excuses. Okay.
Yeah.
We will take caller number 8 in honor of Aaron Rodgers' new number in New York. Caller 8, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. The Golden Geese's new trivia last night. Are these questions you got right or wrong?
Both.
Oh, not a nice mix. Caller 8 right now. We'll play trivia next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Mark Tauscher here, and as we head into a long weekend and the unofficial start of summer, I sure hope you're feeling good on this Feel Good Friday on Wilde Tausch, painted by Holman Lindsay Paints. What's as good as a long weekend spent with family and friends? Well, how about the fantastic work you know you can count on from the pro painters at Holman Lindsay Paints? As you get ready for the summer paint project around your home, you'll be feeling good if you make Holman Lindsay your first stop. And it is so easy to get connected with Holman Lindsay's pro painter. Just like my family did, all you have to do, stop into any Holman Lindsay store, ask, and they'll connect you with the pros that best fit what your project calls for. And remember, Wisconsin's best painters use Wisconsin's best paint. Check them out at HallmanLindsay.com. That's HallmanLindsay.com. Hallman Lindsay, great paint, great people. And stay tuned for Feel Good Friday coming up to close out the show, painted by Holman Lindsay Paints.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. The Wisconsin men's basketball team has announced a 2-year home-and-home series with the University of Arizona beginning this upcoming season. The Badgers will travel to Tucson, Arizona on December 9th of this year, while the Wildcats will come to Madison on November 15th of 2024. Wisconsin and Arizona have only met 7 times in history, with the 2 most recent games being back-to-back Elite 8 wins by Wisconsin in the 2014 and 2015 NCAA tournaments. Wisconsin leads the all-time series 5-2.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Looking for your next spot out with family or friends? Head to one of Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company's 4 locations in the Madison area. Whether you're on the east side, downtown, in Fitchburg, or at Hilldale, you're sure to enjoy one of Madison's favorite traditions. Head to GreatDanePub.com to find the location near you. Always local, always welcoming, and always committed to the craft. Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Experience the rebirth of an American treasure in Oconomowoc. The club at Lac La Belle is open. The redesigned course is one of Wisconsin's finest tracks at the heart of the Wisconsin Golf Trail. Named Best New Wisconsin Course in 2021 by Golf Digest. The club at Lac La Belle is open to the public 7 days a week. Schedule your tee time today at clubatlaclabelle.com. See what everyone is talking about. The club at Lac La Belle is a place to experience over and over again. Go to clubatlaclabelle.com to start your journey.
Join us at the Madison Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns, June 16th to 25th. Visit and get inspired. Go to MadisonParadeOfHomes.com and purchase your tickets today.
Show me the love.
When you put your eyes on Jordan Love, can you tell me if he's going to be good or not? From the little bit I've seen of him, yeah, I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to be good.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
All I need's a little love in my life. All I need's a little love in the dark. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. I need a little loving tonight. Hold me so I'm not falling apart. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart.
Keep those suggestions coming in. Jesse will get to them shortly. 844-770-3776. Paul and the girls are gone to Chicago. What's the one thing I need to do for fun in between all the tasks that I've been assigned and that I have on my own to-do list? Time now to play a little trivia. It's a special day when Justin Garcia is our cousin sub of the day. It becomes even more special when we have a first-time contestant. Let's welcome in Jeff in Elkhorn. Jeff, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. Good, thanks. How are you?
Are you a long-time listener and just a first-time trivia contestant, or did you just discover what a great show this is when Justin's on it?
Nope, long-time listener.
All right, we appreciate your loyalty to the show, buddy. Here we go. Question number 1 in Questions from the Golden Geese's new trivia last night. Kind of a mouthful of a title. What is the nickname of the NHL franchise located in Dallas, Texas? Which, of course, Jesse could not watch any of that game because they didn't have a television at this new place. Are they the Stars, the Supernovas, or the Galaxy?
The Stars.
Jesse, how'd that game turn out?
Dallas won in overtime. Got home and saw the final goal in overtime. They survived. Kept it from a sweep.
A couple of friends of the show on that roster, by the way.
Joey P. with the game winner, Pavelski.
Yeah, and Suter as well. Question 2, Justin Garcia.
All right, question 2. Wisconsin has 72 counties. Which of these states has fewer total counties than Wisconsin?
What?
Georgia, Nebraska, or West Virginia?
I don't want to give it away in case this is like a thing they do at other places, but there were 4 places. There were 4 states, and they said rank them in order from most counties to fewest counties, and we pretty much did it the exact opposite.
All right, first of all, I appreciate that you're very concerned about trivia being played at other locales, that you might be giving away an answer. Secondly, let's get to question 3. Jeff, which of these actors who has proven he has the chops over the last few decades was the voice actor for Thomas, the first mate to Captain John Smith in the 1995 animated Disney film Pocahontas? Was it Ryan Reynolds, Christian Bale, or Hugh Jackman?
Ryan Reynolds. I have no idea.
I knew this one. And unfortunately, it is not Ryan Reynolds. Although there are people that are usually on this panel who believe he has chops. The correct answer, of course, Christian Bale. Christian Bale in the 1995 film, yes.
Tausch would tell you.
Well, he'd also tell us that Ryan Reynolds has chops, so his judgment is flawed. All right, Jeff, you got 2 out of 3. That means you got 3 of the 4 entries into our drawing a little bit later in the show.
Great.
Thanks for playing, buddy.
Thank you.
I love you guys.
I'm impressed he got West Virginia over Christian Bale. I would not have gotten that right. I would not have been smart enough to eliminate those larger states.
The Christian Bale one is one of my favorite Disney nuggets. Whenever I'll throw around Disney trivia now and then. Christian Bale as the first mate in Pocahontas is one that nobody ever knows that.
And that was actually a question last night?
Yes. There was a whole thing about match the voice actor to the role. And I turned to Tyler and said, I hope Christian Bale's one of them. And boom, there he was. I laughed out loud. Like, oh my God, can't believe it. Know this one.
Well, at least you got one right. All right, that's it for trivia. We will kick off the 10 o'clock hour in 2 minutes, which will include some baseball and some renovation discussion. It's Wilde Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
After surviving their second straight must-win, the Celtics face yet another must-win, this time in Game 6. Will they survive? Or will the Heat finally put them away and advance to the NBA Finals? Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton. I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Hey, this is Craig Karmans, and join Kyle Wallace and me every Sunday morning for Sunday Karma on a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison, and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. Sports Center brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out at 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Did you hear any of the former Packers that joined Wilde and Tausch yesterday? It included Santana Dotson, Gilbert Brown, and quarterbacks Lynn Dickey and Don Majkowski. Majkowski weighing in on expectations for Jordan Love heading into the 2023 season.
He's got some huge shoes to fill. I mean, the last 30 years with Brett and with Aaron, I mean, that was some of the best quarterback play ever in football's history. So Packer fans have been extremely spoiled and probably took it for granted a little bit that, the quarterback position was going to be playing at such a high level. And he's got a lot to live up to.
If you missed any of those conversations, subscribe, rate, review to the Wilde Tausch podcast and find them on Wisconsin On Demand, wherever you get your podcasts. Baseball, Brewers 5-0 shutout loss last night in the first of 4 against the San Francisco Giants this weekend at AmFam Field. Two teams back at it tonight, 7:10 first pitch.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
I've been grinding so long, been trying it for years. And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde Tausch begins now. And I would just like to state for the record that if I don't get $447 in renovation funding, I'm going to stop doing the show until I've fixed up my radio studio in my basement, Jesse. Sorry. All right, I saw this story yesterday. Todd Rosiak of the Journal-Sentinel did a great job reporting on it. Rob Manfred at AmFam Field, formerly known as Miller Park when it was first built, saying that basically the stadium needs more than $400 million worth of renovations over the next 2 decades to fix everything that's already wrong with it. Am I being obtuse, Justin, that this just feels like Governor Evers put $290 million into the budget and then it was not well received, and now this is some sort of power play from Major League Baseball? Is that what this is?
I'm sure that's a part of it. I mean, this ultimately boils down to, and I believe this is, it's not what drove the Rams to Los Angeles, but it helped allow them to make that move. This boils down to that. I think it's the state-of-the-art clause.
Yep.
That was in the stadium district contract that the Brewers have, which is, 20 or 25%. You have to be one of keeping up with the Joneses is how the Journal-Sentinel referred to it. But basically, hey, with this clause in there, you have to be in line with the top handful of stadiums out there in Major League Baseball. And by their estimation, yeah, American Family Field, it's still functional and it's still a nice facility, but this is not one of the 8 best stadiums in baseball, and $400+ million is what's going to take to get it there.
There are a variety of items, Jesse, that the Brewers and MLB believe need to be done to the stadium, and I've got a list of a number of them. I would also say this, as the son of an usher, what is George's reaction to this? Have you asked him? Because that's like his second home there.
I did not ask Usher George what his thoughts were on this, but I'll say this. Anytime you're talking about a team moving, especially in this area, like I think of the Bucks when I was growing up. I thought for a long time that the Bucks were going to leave Milwaukee, and I think there were suitors that were interested in their services around the United States in larger markets than Milwaukee. And the danger with this is that if you flirt with it, if you play hardball with it, and you don't support it with the funding, and you want to take it to the next level and kind of push it down the road and play the game, you could lose the team, and that probably means you will never get a team back. Like Montreal and St. Louis with the Rams, and Oakland is experiencing it on a couple of fronts right now. I would not mess around with this if I was the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin and everybody that cares so passionately about the Brewers. I wouldn't mess with this. I wouldn't try to kick this down the road. I wouldn't try to play hardball. Get it resolved. Keep the team here. It's a loyal fan base. It's always good with attendance, even when the team isn't very good. Let's keep it here, and let's not mess around.
And as a homeowner and a taxpayer, you're fine with paying your share to keep the up with the Joneses phrase, like Justin mentioned.
I mean, I am. I'm an avid sports fan, though. I understand why, if you're not a Brewers fan, if you're not a sports fan, and you're focused on where your tax dollars are going, I understand that you may not care about this. Therefore, you'd say, well, I don't want my taxes to go up for something I don't care about. I understand that. I think the economic impact that the Brewers have on the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin is what needs to be considered.
We are a major league state with an NFL team, an NBA team, an MLB team, and it feels like Justin Tausch and I were talking like 2 weeks ago or a week ago about, well, could Milwaukee have a NHL team? That'd be great. And now we're, at least in theory, having a conversation about, well, if these things aren't done, they can move the franchise. That always feels like a very heavy hammer to hold over a fan base and municipalities. And I was a little surprised that that club came out of the bag as early as it did. And you're right, it's written into this contract, this idea that they have to keep up with it being a state-of-the-art facility, which, by the way, do people realize when that is put into the original contract that this is the outcome of that? That was the first thought I had, was like, did you guys think about this when you signed this, whatever it was, 25 years ago, when we were first working toward this building opening? Because if you did and you knew what it meant, this should not come as a surprise to you today.
No, and I mean, do people think about that? Probably not, because Miller Park, when it was Miller Park, so American Family Field when it opened, was like $400 million, something like that, to build that stadium. That I'm sure at the time we have no real thought that things like inflation and state of the art and these arenas and stadiums are going to be more expensive to build than ever before. That it's, hey, this cost us X amount, so state of the art, top 25%, whatever. That means we chip in another $50 or $60 million if we have to, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I'm assuming that was the thought, because the Brewers weren't the only team that had that in their clause. That was really the rage of the 90s when we saw the boom of new Major League Baseball stadiums and NFL stadiums. I mean, the Bengals is the most laughable one, where they're required to put in a holographic replay system if that ever comes to be a thing. And I mentioned that's what allowed the Cronkies to break their lease and move the Rams from St. Louis to Los Angeles. So to me, having a Major League Baseball team, an NFL team, an NBA team, it's almost like owning a boat, where there's a very big buy-in initially, and there's a lot of upkeep through the years. The only difference is, boat owners will tell you, hey, happiest day of your life is the day you buy the boat and the day you sell the boat. I don't know that you would say the same for losing a franchise, but it's constant, where you always have to be dumping money into it. But conversely, you're the fun friend, and you're the guy that everybody wants to be around. Hey, he has a boat, let's go out on the lake with him. You're a major league city, and you have things to do. You have other establishments and chains that are going to want to come into your town. You'll get tourism, but it's a very, very steep price to pay.
It's interesting to me, and I understand these dollars are different. It's 2023, and these dollars are 2003 dollars. But to renovate Lambeau Field, which, as you well know from your time on the Packers radio network, once upon a time was a corrugated metal exterior building. And if you've been to our fair city, where they're going to be hosting the NFL draft in 2025, it doesn't look anything like that anymore, and hasn't for a long time. And now they're adding on again, and they're in the process of an additional indoor facility for the players to train in, and new offices. $295 million back in 2003 to completely renovate Lambeau Field and bring it to the gem that it is today, as opposed to the quaint, corrugated green metal building it once was. And now, even for the Packers in 2021, it cost them $435 million to start the project that they're on now. I mean, it's a big number. And I want us to stay a major league state. I would like an NHL team, although I'm sure Tausch, if he was here, would say, how many games are you going to go to of an NHL series? But be that as it may, this is something that we're not chicken littling it, but the fact that the commissioner, who has other teams, by the way, who have much more dire stadium situations, right, including Oakland moving to Las Vegas tentatively, the fact that he felt the need to come here, I believe, was to put pressure on the legislature to get this done. And we will see if that indeed occurs. All right. We've gotten to my favorite part of the program, because Justin Garcia and I, there is an age gap, not as large as it is between Jesse and I. But I am very, very curious to hear how people answer the questions that I am going to throw out coming up next, based on something that happened on yesterday's show from the Tellurian golf outing. So we'll do that coming up. Want to remind you that if you are a Brewers fan and you are going to AmFam Field, it's even better if you go there as an Associated Bank customer. You get 10% off at the Brewers team store if you have your Brewers MasterCard. You also get to go in through the Associated Bank gates, skip all the long lines, breeze right through. Jesse's done it. It's great. And, of course, you do have the power of Associated Bank's great customer service in your wallet as well. So check out AssociatedBank.com/Brewers to find out more. My questions about old school Packers are next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
You can drive cutting-edge design. 2023 Audis are on the lot and ready for delivery. Take advantage of 4.99% APR financing for up to 60 months on select new 2023 models. See dealer for details and exclusions. $18.87 a month for $1,000 finance. No down payment required. Qualified buyers through Audi Financial Services. Offer ends May 31st. Stop in and test drive today. Check out our website to see the current inventory and our monthly specials. The search for your Audi begins and ends at Simbrick Audi of Madison, off the Beltline in Rimrock Road. Drive yours today.
Win a round of golf for two at the Bridges or the Meadows at 6 Mile Creek from Guinness. Stop by for a pint at World of Beer, Club Lamarck, Tanner's, or Silver Eagle Bar and Grill and scan the QR code to enter. Show me your Guinness, Wisconsin.
Watch PGA Tour champions, including tournament host and Wisconsin native Steve Stricker, at the American Family Insurance Championship when it returns to University Ridge Golf Course in Madison, Friday, June 9th through Sunday, June 11th. AmFam Champ Week will also include an exciting concert featuring Tyler Hubbard of Florida Georgia Line, Friday, June 9th. Proceeds will support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and the American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com. That's amfamchampionship.com.
The club at Lac La Belle is the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin, with a rich history you will feel once you arrive. Experience a round at the club at Lac La Belle. The redesigned course is open to the public 7 days a week. Schedule your tee time today at club@laclabelle.com. This is a golf destination that you will want to play over and over again, and enjoy fine dining and event space after your round. An historic past meets a vibrant future. Go to club@laclabelle.com to start your journey.
I was rolling my rig on a Crescent City run with my hands on the wheel looking into the sun. With a flash, I became temporarily blind by a plate glass truck I was tailing behind. Next thing I know, I'm in the side of a ditch with a bent rear wheel and a broken off hitch. But I was hauling again in just a short while, because Truckstar Collision is on my speed dial.
Do you operate a fleet, whether it's heavy-duty 18-wheelers or medium-duty delivery vans? And does vehicle downtime make you cringe? Time is money, and a fleet vehicle on the sideline hurts, because you need your fleet to be up and running 100% of the time. If one of your heavy or medium-duty fleet vehicles is out of commission, Truckstar Collision Center in Deerfield will get it back on the road quickly. Since Truckstar is a full-service facility, the complete repair is done in-house, saving you time and money. And remember, they're able to repair both heavy and medium-duty vehicles. Truckstar Collision Center, minutes off I-94 in Deerfield. Call 888-400-1002 or log on to truckstarcollision.com.
Join the fun and the friends of Madison School and Community Recreation for the 19th annual Four Friends Golf Outing on Wednesday, July 19th at the Oaks Golf Course. Jesse Nelson here. Since 2003, the Friends of MSCR has raised over $500,000 to fund new programming, equipment, fee assistance, staff development, and more. You can support accessible recreation in Madison through sponsorship or by signing up for a foursome. Head to mscr.org/golf for more information and to register today.
Steinhaffel's biggest Memorial Day sale is happening now. Get a Ninja 7-in-1 Master Grill with your purchase of $49.99 or more. Then take an extra $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Take an extra 15% off our already reduced clearance center prices. Plus, with Steinhaffel's special 72-month financing, your new room just got even more affordable. The Memorial Day sales event, only at Steinhaffel's and steinhaffels.com.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're on the Packers
The NFC is mediocre to below mediocre.
because we're on Wisconsin sports.
The Packers are not going to be some cellar-dwelling stink pot.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Yeah. Ooh la la, but the pool is singing my line. Tonight to the view, yeah, keeping those blinds closed. She said I wanna find somebody by 9 4.
So I'm both excited and nervous about this. This idea came to me yesterday when we had Lynn Dickey and Don Makowski on, and then we had Gilbert Brown and Santana Dotson on the show. They were all at the Tellurian golf outing. If you missed those conversations, they were terrific. All four of them were great. You can find them on Wisconsin On Demand, presented by Gruber Offices. One call, that's all. Thanks to David and his team, again, for their support of the show and for supporting Wisconsin On Demand. Gruber Offices. One call, that's all. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do your favorite old school Packer, your favorite old school Buck, and your favorite old school Brewer? And after I sent that text along to you guys, it dawned on me. This is my 28th season that I'm about to embark on covering the Packers. So I started when I was 23, 24. There are going to be people who that old school refers to guys that I've covered. And then my enthusiasm waned slightly for this idea.
Yeah.
Like, Jesse, when I ask you for your favorite old school Packer, who is it going to be? Because mine was Lynn Dickey. And we talked to him yesterday. He is 73 years old. Your favorite old school Packer would be who?
Reggie White.
R.I.P. Reggie White. But I covered him, shook his hand, had the most enormous hands. I felt like a child when I shook his hand. But, again, on the list of guys that I covered, and oh, by the way, on the list of guys that Tausch blocked when he went to Carolina for that 1 year. To which I would add, does that make Mark Tauscher an old school Packer?
Is it touch? It's Wilde and touch, isn't it?
And I'm fearful. I mean, I'm kind of glad that he's not here, right? Because I think for some people he would definitely qualify, even though his career ended. The last season he played in the NFL was 2010. But even that is 13 years ago now. So here's my list.
He's been out longer than he was in.
I wasn't going to point that out in case he's listening on Wisconsin On Demand, presented by Gruber Law Offices. Here's my list, and then I want yours, and then we'll open it up for fans. For the Packers, I already said, it's Lynn Dickey. I loved that 83 team. I was 11 years old. Jefferson, Lofton, Kaufman, and Dickey throwing for more yards than anybody in the league, finishing 5th in the MVP balloting, which he apparently didn't know until I informed him yesterday. My favorite old school Buck is Sidney Moncrief, edging out Marcus Johnson for that honor. And my favorite old school Brewer is Robin Yount. Those are really easy calls for me. Like, there's no debate for me. Now, Justin, you pointed out earlier your late 30s, early 40s. I know you like to keep your age under wraps.
More the latter, yeah.
So who is your favorite old school Buck, Brewer, and Packer?
So this one's difficult because it's like any parent when you're asked who's your favorite child. I know my mom would never say it, but I'm her favorite child.
No doubt.
But still, you can't admit that.
Jesse's parents would say that too, but he doesn't have any competition.
Default.
I guess on a technicality, my favorite old school Packer is Brett Favre, but I view this a little differently. So with movies, when you have it didn't do well in theaters, but it's become a cult classic.
Oh boy,
that's how I look at it with these athletes, where it's more the guys I remembered, and it's like, why did I really like that guy? Like for recent Packers, Jared Bush would be the guy that I loved. Jared Bush for whatever reason, and everybody else is like, you like Jared Bush?
What?
But yeah, exactly. So
and
that
I
was,
know JB, and he's a great guy, but
you gotta
that
hook
is
us
a
up
niche
then.
pick.
Oh yeah, all-time favorite. I was the president of the Jared Bush fan club for reasons I could not tell you. But for me, and the other thing is, I didn't get into the NFL until I was a teenager. I was more of a basketball and baseball kid, so I could point to late 80s and early 90s Bucks teams and Brewers teams, and especially in the sweet spot of the early 90s of remember this guy. And I think it's more fun to do with those two teams because outside of 93 for the Brewers and the late 90s for the Bucks, they weren't very successful. So you had to look for, hey, let's pin our hopes on these guys. But by your definition, Brett Favre is my favorite old school Packer, and Glenn Robinson is my favorite old school Buck. Greg Vaughn is probably my favorite old school Brewers player. But to me, it's names, like Marty Conlon and Blue Edwards that I would think back to. Man, I loved watching those guys play. And then the more you understand basketball, you're like, oh yeah, that's why the Bucks were where they were for about 2 decades.
Marty Conlon. Yeah, I covered most of Glenn Robinson's career with the Bucks. Including those Eastern Conference Finals, those salad days when they made it to Game 7 in Philly. All right, Jesse, let's get your list so we can open it up.
So, yeah, I mean, Packers, it's well documented. The player Brett Favre for the Green Bay Packers was my favorite athlete growing up. And I think I'm not alone in that across most sports fans across the state. The Brewer is actually a fascinating one for me, and it does come from my dad being an usher at Miller Park.
Ooh.
Scott Podsednik was the center fielder for 2 or 3 years in Milwaukee.
Well, I did not have this one on my bingo card.
Yeah, and where my dad worked in center field, we would sit out there, and we got, before they even sold him in the pro shop, we had my dad's friend put together the Scott Podsednik jersey for us. So we got a plain jersey from the pro shop, and then he stitched in the name and the number on the back of it, and then we wore those. And so we were on the cover of one of the game day magazines. They took a picture of us because they weren't even selling this thing yet when he was getting hot as a rookie and stealing all the bases. He would try and throw us a baseball when they were warming up between innings pretty much every game we were at. And bless his heart, he had a terrible arm, and so trying to throw it to
he did.
He would try to throw a ball up to us in center field, and he would throw it. He'd throw it off the back panel, or he'd throw it into the bullpen, or he'd come up short and fall back onto the field. He'd have to toss it into the bullpen. He tried so much. There was one game he threw 4 balls our direction, missed on all 4. He just kind of gave us a shrug. And it was I just can't get it there. And moved on. So I love Scott Podsednik. I thought he just played a fun game, and then when he went to the White Sox and hit a guy who never hit home runs,
World Series hero,
hits a walk-off home run in a World Series game. He was one of my favorites growing up. So there was a whole window there where the Brewers were bad, where Podsednik, Richie Sexson, Jeremy Burnitz, some of those early 2000s guys.
We're talking early 2000s, yeah. Junior Spivey.
Yeah, uh-huh. They're Ben
Tomo
Sheets,
Oka,
of course.
Ben Sheets, yeah.
There's a whole list of early 2000s Brewers that, and then you get into Fielder and Braun and all those guys that, as I was in middle school, high school, that became the guys.
I was an intern, a WTMJ sports intern, for 2 summers, and one of those 2 was the rookie year of Scott Podsednik, and it was the other than the fact that it was unpaid, it was the best job ever because my entire job was I covered the Brewers for the entire summer, and if we had a weeknight sports show, a Sports Central, I would get to sit in on that with Eric Bilstead and watch him produce it. So I was there for the Scott Podsednik rise to stardom with this is a terrible team, but holy cow, this came out of nowhere. This guy broke spring training, and all of a sudden he's pushing for Rookie of the Year. But, even with that terrible arm that Scott Podsednik has, you still should have been able to get the balls, Jesse, because I was at just about every game. There were no fans those years.
There weren't many. And then, Jason, I don't want to make you feel bad, but my favorite old school Buck is no doubt Ray Allen.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, too. He just doesn't qualify for old school. And it was great to see him a few weeks ago and introduce him to Sid. All right, so those are our lists. And I do feel old when Ray Allen is the pick for Jesse. I'll still never forget being at the NFL Scouting Combine and getting a call that the Bucs were trading Ray Allen and thinking that I was being punked, which was popular back then, by the way, because everyone knew how much I liked Ray. No, it really happened. Turned out to be a bit of a mistake. All right, those are our lists. I'm going to tweet this out, give you the opportunity to share yours. 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. This will be great because you'll know instantly kind of the age range that everyone who responds is in. And I'm okay with that. Ray Allen, Glenn Robinson, Brett Favre, Reggie White. I have to face the reality that I am not a young person anymore, and players that I covered qualify as old school. Limited time covering Blue Edwards, for the record, but I did cover Vin Baker upon his arrival in Milwaukee. So, yeah, not ideal. 844-770-3776. We'll get to some of your lists next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your summer. Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet, the name you can trust. And as we head into Memorial Day weekend, I do declare this to be the unofficial start of our summer. With Memorial Day weekend marking the start of summer, and as I have declared, I'm guessing you might be thinking about a fun road trip to take in the next few months with family or friends. Whether you've got plans to drive across the country or if your schedule calls for just a little daycation across the state, make sure your vehicle is ready to take on every potential challenge thanks to the fantastic service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Get a tune-up, check the battery, check your tires, change the oil, and make sure all the inner workings of your vehicle are in tip-top shape for your next road trip. The things you should worry about for your summer road trip: packing the right clothes, making the most of every experience. What you shouldn't worry about: car trouble on the road. Zimbrick Chevrolet, the name you can trust.
It's a showdown in the National League East. Kyle Schwarber and the Philadelphia Phillies begin a 10-game road trip in Atlanta when they go head-to-head against the NL East leading Braves. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Are you dreaming of a new look? Let the pros at 5 Star Painting bring color to your world, to your interior, exterior, cabinets, and more. We make it easy with online scheduling, free on-site estimates, and a dedicated project manager on every job. Uneasy about hiring a contractor? We know, we've been there. 5 Star Painting is customer-focused and quality-driven, exceeding expectations every time. Call or visit 5starpainting.com today. 5 Star Painting, a neighborly company.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
How about all text? You focus on the road.
As a passenger, you have the power to prevent an accident. There are 1,000 ways to stop a distracted driver. Choose one.
A message from CTIA. Show me the love.
Jordan Love is in a position where the NFC, it is wide open. He is better than anyone expects. He can be a Pro Bowl quarterback.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Justin, do you want to amend your list in any way? Because we're going on the record here. I'm about to tweet out mine. You can send out yours on your own. I don't have to do all the work around here.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Jared Bush still going to be your pick.
No, I mean, I guess I'd have to copy Jesse with Brett Favre, and then the other two, I think, what did I say, Glenn Robinson and Greg Vaughn?
Vaughny, yeah.
Those are my favorites, but it's more of a collection of players that I fondly remember. But those would be the favorites, quote unquote.
All right, well, let's see if there's any crossover with some of our calls and texts. 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. By the way, the tweet is out now. You can respond to that, of course, on the Wilde Tausch Twitter feed as well. Let's start with Ed in Madtown. Ed, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm great, guys. I got three guys that I think are definitely fallen under the radar. I'm going to go baseball first. I'm going Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder won a home run contest in the All-Star game. I'd love to just pick his brain, what it's like to go through what he's gone through, recovery from his neck issues. I work with people with disabilities and traumatic brain injuries, so he would be my primary number one interview for that.
Okay.
Donald Driver for the Packers. Donald Driver, he's made more with less when he came into the NFL, and he's click it or ticket, and he's a face of Wisconsin, even on TV yet to this day.
Yeah, he's really bulked up in those cartoons, though. Like I don't remember him being quite that.
He's very strong.
Yoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very cut and ripped. When I got to meet him face to face at when they used to, I used to go up and watch them ride their bikes out. He was one of my first guys I got to meet in person, and his handshake could put you to your knees.
Well, and he can hold a truck for moving in the cartoon for the Wisconsin DOT.
Paul Pressey.
Ooh, good one.
Paul Pressey. He was the Giannis back then that the Giannis is today. To me, Paul Pressey had a lot of the moves like Giannis could. do. And I was looking at his points per game, and he did quite well with the Bucks. He was averaging some really high-scoring games. And so that's it for me, guys.
All right, Ed, thanks for the call. I would like to point out that Prince Fielder's final Major League season was 2016. So I am feeling old after that one, but I'm going to give myself a pass on that.
How does Prince Fielder and Donald Driver make you feel there, Jason?
Donald Driver, his rookie year, 1999, which was my first year as our primary Packers writer at the State Journal. He played through 2012. Paul Pressey, though, that's more in my wheelhouse. And he was a point forward for Don Nelson, so a good little history lesson from Ed there. His final NBA season, by the way, 92-93. So I feel a lot better about Ed's list on that one.
He's, to Ed's point, I mean, it's basically what you look for in players now, that he was a point forward and one of the better defenders in the league. Like, there's a lot of Drew Holiday's game to what Paul Pressey did back for the Bucks in the 80s.
844-770-3776. We're getting some really good texts, too, including from Jeff in Monroe, who has pulled over. Why didn't he just have his wife do the texting for him? Instead, he pulled over while driving. Bart Starr, Oscar Robertson, and George the Boomer Scott. The third one, an interesting choice because he was traded for Cecil Cooper, who came over from the Boston Red Sox and obviously had a crucial hit in the 82 World Series before at least one of you on the panel was born, and maybe both of you. All right, let's keep going with the calls. 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Now, this guy, he's not as old as me, but he's older. It's Ron in the Key. Ron, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm pretty close. Pretty close. I graduated from high school the year that Brust was born.
And yet you forged such a beautiful friendship with him.
He said it. I call BS on that. I'd say acquaintances who play similar dumb things together. Anyways, to try to be more brief, maybe brilliant, Jason, it is old school, whoever we were fans of. I hate to break that to you. We old. No, so with that, for me, I got like two in each. So I was Big Dog. I was Sam Cassell when the aforementioned Marty Conlon was somehow liked by more Wisconsin fans than Sam for some reason.
A modern day Paul Mokeski, I always viewed him as.
Yeah. So, and then similarly, although Justin has trumped me with his fandom of DBs that the rest of the state doesn't like, I believe you know who I'm about to say. I've got him on this very brand's airwaves. Mm-hmm. Terrell Buckley is my guy. Sterling Sharp on the other side. That was even before our friend was stealing from welfare people. I still like those two better. I love you guys. And then in baseball, Molitor, and for some reason the name just always did something for me. Sixto Liscano.
Number 16.
When I was a kid.
Yeah.
Now, really quick, last thing. You were looking for stuff to do this weekend. You know, I happen to know that, like, Justin's friend and mentor has his food truck out there today and tomorrow, I think.
I have already heard from him. Sources close to the program indicate it's not driving close to my home, though. I got a lot to get done. I don't want to be investing that much driving.
Take a little road trip.
I've driven a lot of miles multiple times to help that young man, you know, get his business off the ground. I would say this, Jason. Last thing, and I'll let you go. Ask yourself this.
Thank you.
Would Ashton drive that far for you? I think we know the answer.
No, I think we both know the answer to that. No, I don't think so. Unless apparently I was putting one of my pets down, but that's a whole other discussion for another day.
Yeah, get over to Rod Tots and then go catch a Brewers game on Saturday night. How about that little daily dip?
Maybe. 844-770-3776, 770-3776. We've got a bunch of calls starting to stack up, so keep them coming. Let's get to one more before the break. Let's talk to Nick in Milwaukee, although he's actually in Pennsylvania. Nick, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Who you got on your list?
So going back, I go back to Sterling Sharp, even though he blew me off for an autograph one time after a game.
Way to not hold a grudge.
Yeah, my dad was a sports editor up in Manitowoc for 20-some years, and he'd go in the media area, and then we'd wait, back, and Sterling was kind of trying to sneak off out the side, and I saw him, and I ran over, and he took off instead towards the parking lot, and that was that.
Nick, who's your dad?
Tom Aiello.
Wow. Small world.
Yeah, you probably had a little crossover with him, yeah. He
a little bit, yep.
Up there about 99, yep. So.
Yep, that's awesome. All right, who else is on your list?
Yeah. And then the Bucks, the obvious one is Ray Allen. That was a sad day when he was traded. And you mentioning Blue Edwards would have been my other choice there. So
wow.
Got to see him a little bit, yeah, oddly enough. But as a kid, it was kind of cool seeing him miss a dunk that bounced all the way back to half court. That was kind of my memory of that.
It seemed to happen a lot with those teams, too, yeah. And really cemented his fame as one of the options you could choose for the Bucks on NBA Jam.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And then Brewers-wise, Gary Sheffield.
Oh, now that's an interesting choice, given how his departure from Milwaukee played out, but obviously a great player. Right. I like that one. I'll be honest, I did not have Blue Edwards on my projections to be mentioned not once but twice, but I did wonder, Justin, and thanks for the call, Nick, we appreciate you. I did wonder if Sheffield would get referenced, because I remember, I think it was in high school when he came up, and I'm not sure there's ever been a prospect in my lifetime that there was more buzz about, and then obviously the way that story plays out for Milwaukeeans, not ideal.
Not ideal. I guess it's not even a fair comp, but yeah, I'm surprised that his name would come up, because it wasn't just like a season or two. It was a handful of seasons that he spent with the Brewers, but it was really the last season or two where you started to see, yeah, he's going to live up or showing signs of living up to that potential, and it was more the divorce and the words he had for the organization in the city of Milwaukee on the exit. I had that just below, in terms of level of surprise, somebody saying Gary Payton as their old school favorite Bucks player.
Well, the good news is you're still the only one who has said Jarrett Bush, who I'll see at gymnastics practice at some point next week.
Send my regards, yeah.
I will let him know that he made our list, and he will be he is one of the all-time great guys. Like, I always felt bad how much Packers, and the guy had an interception in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Absolutely.
A crucial interception in the Super Bowl.
I had on the Packers or on the NFL shop, you could order hoodies and get a player on the back. I had a Jarrett Bush hoodie. It went that far, and my friends almost bought me a Jarrett Bush jersey, because just as your reaction, they were like, "What? How do you not hate this guy? That you are the only person I've met that wants more Jarrett Bush." That was me. So, yeah, send him my regards.
Well, I look forward to the next time your cousin's subbing, because we'll have him on. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. We have gotten a response via Twitter that I am going to reveal, and now I feel some modicum of guilt, because it was a close call between these two, and one of them has responded to our question when it came to my old school Buck. We'll tell you who that is and continue with your list next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. Well, it's always a good time to get that special someone in your life a beautiful gift. And when I'm in need of a new piece of jewelry, Chalmers Jewelers is my go-to place. Whether I want a timeless classic or a one-of-a-kind piece, Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison has just what I'm looking for. My life has been made so much easier thanks to the great team over at Chalmers Jewelers, and is the reason I keep going back for more. Visit chalmersjewelers.com to find your perfect new piece of jewelry today.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Big trailers and big opportunities at Stoughton Trailers. Immediate openings at the Broadhead, Evansville, and Stoughton locations. Assemblers, forklift drivers, and more. Apply at stojobs.com. The Wisconsin men's basketball team has announced a 2-year home-and-home series with the University of Arizona beginning this upcoming season. The Badgers will travel to Tucson, Arizona on December 9th of this year, while the Wildcats will come to Madison on November 15th of 2024. Wisconsin and Arizona have only met 7 times in history, with the 2 most recent games being back-to-back Elite 8 wins by Wisconsin in the 2014 and 2015 NCAA tournaments. Wisconsin leads the all-time series 5-2.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Join the fun and the friends of Madison School and Community Recreation for the 19th annual Four Friends Golf Outing on Wednesday, July 19th at the Oaks Golf Course. Jesse Nelson here. Since 2003, the Friends of MSCR has raised over $500,000 to fund new programming, equipment, fee assistance, staff development, and more. You can support accessible recreation in Madison through sponsorship or by signing up for a foursome. Head to mscr.org/golf for more information and to register today.
Zimbrick Chevrolet.
When was the last time you had your oil changed or your tires rotated? Do you need new tires, a battery, perhaps some windshield wipers? Zimbrick Chevrolet Service Center is equipped to help you with routine maintenance, major repairs, and everything in between. Get your free battery inspection coupon and schedule an appointment today at ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Don't overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie.
Main Street, Sun Prairie. Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Show us your Guinness, Wisconsin. You could be golfing for free.
It's in the hole.
Guinness wants to send you to the course with Dad. Tee Off with Dad is going on now, and you could win a round of golf or 2 this summer at the Bridges Golf Course or the Meadows of 6 Mile Creek. Stop by and enjoy a pint at World of Beer, Club Lamarck, Tanner's, or the Silver Eagle Bar and Grill. While there, scan the QR code to enter. It's Tee Off with Dad from Guinness. Good things come to those who wait.
Former NFL player and Rose Bowl champion Tarek Saleh here for Carbon World Health. Carbon is much more than just another gym. They offer the best recovery in the area. Some of my favorites include red light therapy and cryotherapy. Improve your athletic performance, fitness and training results, speed up muscle recovery and reduce pain, and boost your mood with these simple and non-invasive treatments. Visit Carbon World Health today and ask for the ESPN Recovery Package. That's Carbon World Health.
Like, share, and follow ESPN Madison everywhere. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more great content from ESPN Madison. This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
So make them stop and stare as I zone out. The club ain't even handle me right now.
844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Taking your favorite old school buck, your favorite old school brewer, and in honor of Lynn Dickey, Don Mikowski, Gilbert Brown, and Santana Dotson joining us yesterday on the show, your favorite old school Packer. Chiming in in response to Thornton Mellon, who I didn't realize was on Twitter, who responded to our list. He tagged Marcus Johnson as his favorite old school Buck.
Uh-oh.
Which I would like to point out, again, I said him and Sidney Moncrief. It was neck and neck. Well, Elder Marcus Johnson has chimed in. James Lofton and I were childhood buds in South Central. We hung out daily at either Sportsman's Park, now Jesse Owens Park, or St. Andrew's Playground, closer to our houses. The best athlete was Carl Mosier, the third member of our crew. So he has chimed in. I did not realize that he had a connection to James Lofton. Did you know that?
He has a connection to everybody. Like, honestly, I'm not even making that up. Like, if you listen to Marcus tell stories, you'll start someplace and you'll finish somewhere you never expected, and he always has a connection to someone you wouldn't have imagined.
844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. Let's get to a few more of your lists. We've got a ton of them on social media and via the text portion of the talk and text line. But let's get to a few calls. Let's go to John in Kenosha first. John, good morning. Who's on your list, buddy?
Good morning. So I have Robin Yount. I was able to be at his 3,000th hit game.
Yeah, me too.
So that was pretty exciting. Yep, that was cool. I was fortunate enough to do that. And then Sidney Moncrief. I was able to meet him in high school 2 or 3 times. He was just such a great guy. And then for my last one, Marcus Johnson kind of stole my thunder. I said James Lofton. Mm-hmm. When I was a young child, he had built a house around the corner from my grandparents' home.
Oh, wow.
And on game day, my dad and I would go out there and throw the football around, and he would come out and throw the football around with us for a few times. So those are my 3. That's what I got for you.
That's a great story. Thanks for the call, John. We appreciate you. I have to admit, while Sidney Moncrief maybe got the nod, I went back during the commercial break, and the tour de force performance by Marcus Johnson in White Men Can't Jump cannot be underrated during this conversation.
Blue Chips, too.
Oh, nice. Yes, that's true. You're right. He's got a connection to everyone. Let's get to a couple more of your calls. Let's talk to Paul in Kiel. Paul, good morning, buddy. Who's on your list?
Jason, I got to call you out. Cecil Cooper did not have that hit in the World Series.
No, it was in the ALCS.
American League Championship game. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Get down. I remember like it's yesterday. So my favorite Brewer happens to be a 2-pack a day smoker during a baseball game was Ted Simmons. And for the Bucks,
it's a pretty good reference, by the way.
And as a Packer, we're going to go All-Star Wrestling, the Crusher, our very own Yurkovich.
Oh, good for Yurko, who is our teammate at ESPN Chicago nowadays, and I heard being referenced by Favre in an interview recently. He is a beloved figure. There's no question about that. Probably a little bit higher on the food chain than Jarrett Bush, but still a niche selection to be sure. 844-770-3776. Let's get to one more call, and then we'll start with texts and tweets to kick off the 11 o'clock hour. Let's go to Kurt in Heartland. Kurt, good morning. Who's on your list?
Hey, long-time listener. Love you guys.
Thanks.
List for the Bucks. We got to go with Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And let's see, for the Brewers, if not for the mustache alone, we got to go Raleigh Fingers.
There's
and
a good
the Minister
one.
Minister of Defense for the Packers, we got to go with Reggie.
Kurt, how old are you?
I am 58.
So, Reggie, you would have suffered through some of the disappointments as a Packers fan before Reggie arrived. So that's a tip of the hat to the success that you got to enjoy later on after growing up in an era when they weren't very good. That's awesome. We appreciate the call, Kurt. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
All right, we will get to some of the Twitter responses, not just Marcus Johnson's, and we will get to some of your texts coming up. Want to remind you, and I know that it's Memorial Day weekend, and everyone has big plans, except for me, of course. But part of your plans should include the Memorial Day sale at Steinhafels. And right now it's going on. It's a 5-day extravaganza, and you can shop today through Memorial Day and take $100 off your purchase of $1,999 or more. Plus, when you spend over $4,999, you'll get a Ninja 7-in-1 Master Grill, perfect for cooking outside this summer. And speaking of outside, you'll save up to 25% off all patio furniture. And you can go into my favorite part of the store, the clearance center, and you'll earn an extra 15% off their already reduced clearance center prices. Plus, with Steinhafels' special 72-month financing, you can buy now and pay over 6 years. Steinhafels has something for everyone, so shop their biggest Memorial Day sale ever, in-store and online, at steinhafels.com. The 11 o'clock hour begins in 2 minutes. It's Wilde Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by 5 Star Painting, your residential and commercial professional painters for interiors, exteriors, kitchen cabinets, decks, and fences. Check them out at 5starpainting.com. Did you miss any of the great former Packers that joined Wilde Tausch yesterday from the Tellurian Celebrity Golf Tournament in Wisconsin Dells? It included Santana Dotson, Gilbert Brown, and former quarterbacks Don Majkowski and Lynn Dickey. Here's Majkowski weighing in on expectations for Jordan Love taking over as the Packers starter in 2023.
He's got some huge shoes to fill. I mean, the last 30 years with Brett and with Aaron, I mean, that was some of the best quarterback play ever in football's history. So Packer fans have been extremely spoiled and probably took it for granted a little bit that, you know, the quarterback position was going to be playing at such a high level. And he's got a lot to live up to.
If you missed any of the conversation yesterday, find the full show podcast when you subscribe, rate, review Wilde Tausch on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from Wisconsin On Demand. Jason Wilde and Justin Garcia continue next on Wilde Tausch.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
O'clock hour of Wilde Tausch with Justin Garcia as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Speaking of old school Packers and people that are being cousin subbed for, I got an unexpected text from my friend Amy, who works for Capture Marketing. And they do a great job. They do a lot of stuff with Aaron Jones and a bunch of other local athletes.
Does
and
she want to hang out with you on Saturday?
No, that was not what. That was not on the list. No. What it was? What she's busy too. She's got kids. She's happy.
It's Memorial Day
busy,
weekend. Nobody's
stuff.
really busy.
Nobody wants to hang out with me though on their own. So more importantly, they're cleaning out their offices, and they have unearthed in an unmarked box some autographed Wilson footballs signed by Mark Tauscher.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what their intentions are for them. She did offer me one. I feel like this is an opportunity for us. I don't know how deep this box is. I could see at least 2. But it looks like there's more than that. So maybe 3 or 5 footballs in this box. I think there's an opportunity here.
One touch.
For fans of Mark Tauscher. So I'm going to see what how much should I be willing to, if she requires payment for these, how much should I be willing to pay to get those from her? $5? Does that seem high?
I mean,
each or total?
The question is, like, if next time you and Tausch are going to be at the AmFam Champ, that's probably the next time we're all going to be together.
Correct.
If you handed Tausch a football at the AmFam Championship and said, "Hey, pal, can you sign this for me?" what would his reaction be?
I'm sure he would do it, and he would make my life. He would be difficult about it.
Should we do this? Because maybe he's not listening on Wisconsin. I mean, this could be our little secret. Should we surprise him with this at the AmFam Championship to see what his reaction would be? He's
like Santa Claus, man. He always knows. He knows when you've been bad or good. So I don't anticipate this working, but I do. We could give these away as some sort of prize pack in some way. So I'm going to let Amy know that we will take these. All right, so speaking of Tausch, he and Jesse were at the Tellurian 26th Annual Charity Celebrity Golf Outing yesterday in the Dells at Trapper's Turn. And we talked to, for me, and I bet for a lot of others, the other guy that we talked to also fits this category, my favorite old school Packer. We talked to Lynn Dickey, and we also talked to Don Mikowski, and then 2 guys that I covered, Gilbert Brown and Santana Dotson. So that's what spurred this conversation. But here's a little bit of what Lynn Dickey had to say about Jordan Love when we talked with him yesterday about the Packers' current and new starting quarterback.
I would tell him, as cliche as it is, hey, let's try and be 1-0. And then the second week, let's be 1-0 this week. And just pretty soon, if you're good enough, those, as y'all know, the W's will pile up and take care of itself. But just, again, I agree completely. He's not going to fill Aaron Rodgers' shoes. And, boy, if I was Matt LaFleur, I'd tell him, don't even try to do it.
Right.
We want to concentrate on all the things you can do. And the W's and the L's, it'll all take care of itself. But just be you.
Justin, when we talked to those guys yesterday, they had some really good insight into what it's like when you take over as a quarterback. Lynn Dickey was in Houston for a number of years before he came to Green Bay. But Don Mikowski, which I didn't realize this till I was writing my story for the State Journal, I knew he started as a rookie in '87. I didn't realize he was a 10th round pick. Like, we don't even have 10 rounds now. And he ended up obviously having a fantastic '89 season when things started to click for him that season, and they went 10-6 and actually didn't make the playoffs because there were fewer playoff teams. But the advice that they had about be yourself, I think that part is obvious. The other piece of it, though, was this kind of realistic, don't try to be Aaron Rodgers, but the fan base wants some, at least to some degree, and not necessarily this year, but we know what Packers fans are accustomed to. So being Mitch Trubisky is not going to be good enough for Packers fans and, quite frankly, for the Packers. So that's great that you don't want to be Aaron Rodgers or you don't want to try to be Aaron Rodgers. But somewhere in between Mitchell Trubisky and Aaron Rodgers is the sweet spot that they want and need him to be.
Yeah, and to me, I hate the, well, is this more than that? And the hypotheticals that we tend to really lean on in this industry. But you do have to wonder, is Jordan Love, through no fault of his own, facing more external pressure than Aaron Rodgers? Because we had the same conversation when Aaron Rodgers took over of, look, you're not going to replace Brett Favre. You're not going to fill those shoes. Just be Aaron Rodgers, and we'll take it from there. And Aaron Rodgers put together a career that rivaled Brett Favre's, maybe even better. So now if you're Jordan Love, you're replacing not just Aaron Rodgers, but you're replacing Brett Favre, too, with the 30 years of quarterbacking that Packers fans have had. And it's one thing to have that message drilled down of, look, this doesn't last forever, and sooner or later you're not going to have an elite quarterback. But it's not necessarily something that you absorb and register when you've gone through 3 decades of this, where, oh, it's great. Jordan Love will be the next very good to great quarterback because that's all we've been accustomed to since 1992.
We're getting some interesting names that have not been mentioned yet. And, Jesse, I know you've got some text lined up, but I want to get to Jamie's tweet on this. Tim Harris, the old six-shooter celebration after sacks, Packers Hall of Famer. Brian Winters, the bearded sharpshooter from outside. And Gorman Thomas. Now, there's a guy who was a fan favorite, struck out a lot, hit a lot of home runs, was really a man ahead of his time in terms of running through center field walls and being a strikeout or feast or famine hitter. Boy, was he beloved, and boy, were Brewers fans unfair to poor Rick Manning when they traded Gorman Thomas to Cleveland for Rick Manning.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of fan favorites or, these, I remember that guy called heroes. Gorman Thomas walked so Russell Branyan could run with the Brewers.
A couple of others on Twitter that we haven't heard before. William Henderson. Obviously a popular fullback. He does not make my list. A Bucks one that we haven't heard. Terry Cummings, who was acquired when they traded Marcus Johnson to the Clippers. Recollections of Terry Cummings or interactions with Terry Cummings, our Bucks buddy?
I didn't have any interactions with him. That was really me just getting into basketball when he was in Milwaukee. But he's really an under-the-radar, really good player in franchise history that obviously if you were a fan in the 80s and early 90s, you remember and you got to experience what he brought. But for a lot of younger fans, you may not realize it, that the guy that used to wear number 34 prior to that guy that wore number 34, when you look up and down the record books, we've talked for a couple of years now that, you look not just NBA records, but certainly Bucks franchise records. It's Giannis holds this. He beat out Kareem, or the last Bucks player to do this was Kareem. But for a lot of these Giannis-specific categories, that third name is often Terry Cummings. That it's Terry Cummings, Kareem, and Giannis are the only players to have done this.
And Chris chimes in via Twitter, Favre, Greg Vaughn, and Glenn Robinson. So apparently he cribbed your list.
Yeah.
The only thing missing from his is Jarrett Bush. Jesse, what do you have in terms of text messages?
We got a lot to go through here. So Chris and Kohler, it's kind of fun to play like Guess the Era based on some of the names that come through. Chris and Kohler. Bucks Tim Thomas, light it up, light it up. Packers Craig Newsome. And Brewers, here's a fun one, Marquise Grissom.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He patrolled center field before Scott Podsednik, my guy.
Yeah.
So those are fun ones from Chris and Kohler. Jason, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, Tim Thomas, Craig Newsome, both players whose careers I covered. Light it up, make me feel old. What else you got?
There's all kinds of ones to go through. James in Stamford, Connecticut, we had up on the stream a little bit earlier. Old school favorites. Brewers, Robin Yount needs to be mentioned. However, Teddy Higuera is my answer. Have we said any Teddy Higuera yet?
It's the first one I've heard.
I've seen a bunch of those on the text line. Teddy Higuera, big on the text line. But we haven't seen it as much come through on the calls. Packers, James Lofton. And for the Bucks, Terry Cummings.
Yeah, there you go.
Those are from James in Stamford, Connecticut.
I'm surprised we haven't, well, I'm not super surprised, but I'm a little surprised we haven't gotten any Ben Sheets for the Brewers either because, it was always, man, why can't the Brewers have an elite pitcher, and especially in the late 90s or all of the 90s and into the 2000s, it was really any great player, and Ben Sheets was really the first guy, and his reception the final game at County Stadium where he returned from the Olympics with the gold medal. He had some incredible seasons, and there was that, I think it was 04 or 05, where he was right up there for the Cy Young, that he was, I think for a segment of the audience, depending on your age, he was maybe your first favorite Brewers player.
Yeah, Ben Sheets was awesome. There was one day that we got. This was before some extra security measures were in place. One of the early days that my dad, who was an usher at Miller Park back in the day, you may have heard, we got to go in a little early with him, and it was a day game. And Ben Sheets, and I don't know who he was warming up with, but they were the only two players on the field. And so me and my buddy went and sat down while my dad was doing his meeting or whatever he had to do. And Ben Sheets just comes walking over to us, starts talking to us. He's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What are you doing here?" It was essentially what Ben Sheets said to us. And he talked to us for 5 or 10 minutes. And we're just, this is pretty cool. We're just chatting it up with Ben Sheets. And we're like 10 years old. It was amazing.
I did a couple of Brewers spring trainings earlier in my career. And the two most vivid memories I have, beyond getting to sit and talk with Robin Yount, who was obviously on my list, for like a half hour, that was a dream. But the two memories I have of covering Brewers spring training, one, Jeff Juden berating me like that. You've ever seen the video of Ryan Leaf going after that reporter? All I was doing was standing near his locker. Like, I didn't even know who the hell Jeff Juden was, frankly. And apparently I was a little too close to his locker. He thought I wanted to interview him, which I most certainly did not. And that is one of the very rare times where I was fearing for perhaps being deposited into a garbage can. And there were a lot of F words thrown. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was just standing. I wasn't going to bother you. So he was a grade A jerk. And then the other one is Ben Sheets on the opposite end of the spectrum when my friend Drew Olson, who was covering the Brewers at the time for the Journal-Sentinel, introduced me to Ben Sheets and told him that I covered the Packers. And for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we talked football and fantasy football because he was big time in fantasy, loved fantasy football. And so he was asked, instead of me interviewing him, it was him interviewing me. And he could not have been nicer. So I was at each end of the spectrum during my trips to Phoenix for the Brewers spring training. Jesse, give me one more text before we shift gears.
Let's do this one from Nick in Madison to make you feel old, Jason. William Henderson, Ray Allen, and Ricky Weeks from Nick in Madison. So that's probably about the same age range as me, I would say.
Ricky Weeks, Prince Fielder, J.J. Hardy.
Corey Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Like that group, that was kind of the Yount, Molitor, Gantner, Gorman, Thomas of the newer age, right?
And Braun a little bit later, but he was lumped in with those guys. Yeah, it's Braun, Weeks, Fielder, Hardy, and Corey Hart. We're probably the big five coming up. Yep.
All right, we'll sneak a few more of these in before the end of the show, but I did want to get to, Jesse, you had this on the to-do list for today's show, and I do want to get to this. A little Need It or Don't Need It presented by Fleet Farm for the Packers. But it's not just the Packers. It's all over the map. A very different than we're accustomed to. Need it or don't need it, presented by Fleet Farm. We'll do that next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Overheard recently at Pasquale's.
So what's the difference between traditional and original?
Good question.
And what do you do to make it so good?
It's all in the hands and the fresh ingredients.
I bet you have a good suggestion for the main course, too.
Go with the Cowboy.
The best margaritas in Madison, followed by the red chili pork and mole cowboy burrito with cheese and onions. Giddy up, cowgirl.
Pasquale's Cantina, bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina, Middleton and Verona.
Bringing summer gatherings to the next level is just another thing we do at Celebrations Entertainment. Hi, it's Jeffrey. With rental items like sound equipment, photo booths, and even yard games, you can make your event the party that everyone talks about. Any event like graduation parties, block parties, or even a backyard barbecue can be elevated with fun, interactive items to make everyone ask, hey, how'd you pull this off? Just tell them celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Show us your Guinness, Wisconsin. You could be golfing for free.
It's in the hole.
Guinness wants to send you to the course with Dad. Tee Off with Dad is going on now, and you could win a round of golf for two this summer at the Bridges Golf Course or the Meadows of 6 Mile Creek. Stop by and enjoy a pint at LJ Sports Tavern, Danny's Pub, Echo Tap, or Nitty Gritty Downtown. While there, scan the QR code to enter. It's Tee Off with Dad from Guinness. Good things come to those who wait.
Are you looking for a fast-paced job in a fun and exciting work environment? Look no further than Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison. We offer a wide range of job and shift availability in both part-time and full-time positions. Competitive wages and great benefits await you at Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison. Visit us in person or check out our website to see all of our job openings. Make work fun and apply for a job at Madison's only casino.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
After surviving their second straight must-win, the Celtics face yet another must-win, this time in Game 6. Will they survive? Or will the Heat finally put them away and advance to the NBA Finals? Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Wilde Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Time now to play a little Need It or Don't Need It, presented by Fleet Farm. And Fleet Farm has its Memorial Day sale going on right now, and it's your chance to save. Now, all active military and veterans, who, by the way, we really do thank for their service, as opposed to our sarcastic ridiculing of Jesse and Tausch and my less important efforts in what we do on this program. To thank military and veterans for their service, Fleet Farm is giving you an extra 10% off all your in-store purchases through May 29th. Plus, you can check out deals for everyone and more at fleetfarm.com. Get your camping essentials while you're at it during the Countdown to Summer sale now at Fleet Farm, where you can score savings on tents, sleeping bags, coolers, and more to get you ready for your summer camping trips. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955. Time now for Need It or Don't Need It.
Need it
I guess you're just what I need.
or don't need it. Presented by Fleet Farm. Remember, if Fleet Farm doesn't have it, then you don't need it. Fleet Farm, serving the Midwest since 1955.
First up in Need It or Don't Need It, presented by Fleet Farm. Do the Green Bay Packers need to win more than their projected over-under win total at 7.5 games this season? Do they need to win more than 7.5 for you to feel confident in Jordan Love as the team's starting quarterback? Cousin sub of the day, Justin Garcia. Need it or don't need it?
Don't need it. You can't lose significantly more. Like you can't go 2-15 unless there's just a massive list of injuries. But I don't think if the Packers go 7-10 or 6-11 that your takeaway is, well, I don't trust Jordan Love to be great and lead this team going forward.
This is the argument that Craig Karmazin and I had on Sunday Karma last week, where he suggested that the Packers could have a season like the Bears did last year, and it would still be a success because they would know who their quarterback is, because the Bears know, or at least have committed to, Justin Fields as their quarterback. To which I said, if the Packers go 3-14, if Jordan Love plays all 17 games, Jordan Love will have conclusively shown that he is not the guy.
Right.
I mean, you can't go 3-14. Now, 6-11 is where I have them picked. 6-11, I think you can very easily say, yeah, they didn't win a lot of games, but I really liked his progression throughout the course of the season. And if he wins some games late in the year, I feel even better about him. So, no, you definitely don't need to hit over these 7.5 wins.
Need it or don't need it?
Switching over to the NBA. Do people need to stop saying the Denver Nuggets are boring? They're in the NBA Finals. They've breezed through the West, sweeping the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Tausch's favorite player, Jokic, is leading the way. Jamal Murray's pretty good. But people, national pundits, I've seen most popularly Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated, among others, saying the Nuggets are just boring to talk about. Need it or don't need it, Justin? We need to stop saying the Nuggets are boring.
All right, not to get on my soapbox here, but
Woohoo! Soapbox time!
I'm not sure how to answer this one because, look, I love the Nuggets. I love basketball. They're fun to watch on the court. That's not what the league is. And I don't agree with what Chris Mannix said, but at the same time, he's not wrong. And it's more of a larger problem for the league that we've gone through so many things of load management and making the regular season more meaningful and all these other things that Adam Silver has tried to tackle and address. How do we get more interest into the product here, in-season tournaments and all of this stuff? But it all boils down to this. They sell. What's going to happen with Kyrie? James Harden's requesting a trade. This coach was fired, and this is going on. And again, the problem is that's what the league wants because that's what they're selling. And you can't tell me it's not what they want when it's what one major partner in ESPN fills most of their content with.
All right. In fairness to our program, we do have a tendency to not spend a lot of time talking about the basketball ourselves unless we have you or Eric named to educate and elucidate.
We don't talk about the basketball.
We don't talk about the basketball. No, 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 no. But, well, the reason I use that phrase, Jesse, is the drama gets talked about a lot. Do you really think that the league is in some ways complicit with that attention that it gets? Or is that more on, you know, the media, the Jason Wildes of the world that cover the NBA, who, you know, I'll admit it, the Rodgers drama, I write a lot about it, I talked a lot about it. And now the Packers have a very good chance of being like NBA boring without the drama and without him going on. You know, Jordan Love's not doing a Tuesday hit on McAfee now. It could be very boring, which I'm okay with for the record.
All it would take is one call. from Adam Silver to say, hey, we don't really like how you handled the Western Conference Finals. You're going to have to do something differently. Can you do a feature piece on Nikola Jokic? Can you give some coverage to the Denver Nuggets? Because, again, when the Nuggets swept the Lakers, there was 4 seconds of showing the Nuggets celebrating their first ever sweep in a playoff series and their first ever trip to the finals.
Yep.
It was showing Anthony Davis' reaction. It was showing LeBron James and following him into the tunnel, into the locker room. All the attention afterwards was LeBron James saying, I'm thinking of retiring. It wasn't, man, we were wrong. We should have given Nikola Jokic 3 straight MVPs. He's one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen. It's what's going to happen with LeBron next. And even here locally, all the points you made throughout the state, we don't get a lot of coverage for the Bucks. And I understand why, for all those reasons. But think about the coverage we've gotten so far. It's Bud's fired. Storm clouds are brewing, according to Brian Windhorst. What does this mean? Is Giannis going to stay?
Right.
It wasn't so much what went wrong in the first round. Where do you go from here? What does this mean for Chris Middleton? It was all the off-the-court stuff, and that's what drives the interest in the product, unfortunately, and that's what the league loves.
Need it or don't need it?
Last one in Need It or Don't Need It, presented by Fleet Farm. Oh, it's a Justin Garcia special. Would you look at that? Need it or don't need it, Jason Wilde needs to tune in to one of the wrestling options on his television while he's home alone this weekend and give it a legitimate try.
Look, as much as I would love for Jason to get into the real sweet science, and
real sweet science.
Maybe we could have our own type of show with me, him, and Gabe. Then I'm not going to force it on anyone, and he'd be jumping in mid-storyline for a lot of these things. I mean,
hard to catch up. Yeah.
AEW is way, way, way beyond you for its wrestling purity. And
strange that you would say that a sports entertainment realm, I would be jumping in mid-storyline. You never hear that about legitimate sports. Oh, you can't jump into the NBA season midway through because you're jumping in mid-storyline.
Well, true, but, I mean, you've missed a lot. Like, this is 3 years in the making, this storytelling with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. So it would basically be like, you know what? I think I'm going to watch Fast and the Furious, and I'm going to start with this latest one that came out.
Can just in 120 seconds or less, can you defend being an intelligent person like yourself and duping yourself? I want to be very clear. In my youth, I was the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. There was still some debate back then when I was a youngster. Macho Man Randy Savage, yeah. Whether or not it was fake or not, whether the outcomes were predetermined. They have now leaned into that, and we all wink, wink, nod, nod, know that this is all scripted. Explain to me why it just has such incredible appeal when, ESPN for a period, I don't know if they still do it, but they were covering this kind of stuff as if it was as undecided as, say, Game 6 in Miami tomorrow night. Explain it to me, my friend.
All right, so for the record, I don't believe that the outcomes are not predetermined, but I grew up loving it as a kid, those same names that you mentioned, which have become very problematic with some of the things they've done and said in recent years. But I grew up loving it as a kid, and I was a teenager in the mid to late 90s when it really took off for some equally problematic reasons, and have just stuck with it through the years. I appreciate the athleticism that it requires, and look, it's storytelling, and that's what it is. It's no different from any other TV show where you're following the plot line for several seasons. That this is just athletic storytelling.
It's an athletic men's soap opera.
If you want to use those words, sure.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Again, storytelling, television show, episodic television, soap opera, if that's how you want to kind of confine it, sure.
These are the days of Justin Garcia's life. We will get to Whoa Nelly next. It's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Free Food Friday on 100.5 ESPN Madison is brought to you by North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. North and South is Madison's favorite spot for smokehouse barbecue and seafood. With craft cocktails, authentic wood-fried smokehouse items, and excellent seafood, you can't go wrong. Visit one of their 3 locations in the Madison area today, or have North and South cater your next event. Head to eatnorthandsouth.com for more information.
Experience the rebirth of an American treasure in Oconomowoc. The club at Lac La Belle is open. The redesigned course is one of Wisconsin's finest tracks at the heart of the Wisconsin Golf Trail. Named Best New Wisconsin Course in 2021 by Golf Digest. The club at Lac La Belle is open to the public 7 days a week. Schedule your tee time today at clubatlaclabelle.com. See what everyone is talking about. The club at Lac La Belle is a place to experience over and over again. Go to clubatlaclabelle.com to start your journey.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
If you're looking to purchase, finance, or service a new or pre-owned Honda, buy local. Shop Zimbrick Honda. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Oil changes, brakes, alignments, and warranties. Honda's certified technicians handle it all. And if you need new tires, buy 3 and get the 4th for just $1 when they mount and balance them for you. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Olson Toon has been customizing both residential and commercial outdoor living spaces since 1997. Matt Hamilton here from ESPN Madison. For over 50 years of combined experience in their management and design teams, Olson Toon has become one of Wisconsin's premier building and landscaping outdoor living firms. Landscaping and maintenance, irrigation, concrete work, pools, and more. If you have an outdoor living need, Olson Toon is here to help. Go to olsontoon.com to get started on your home project today. That's olsontoon.com.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust for Road America. Make the most out of your summer at Elkhart Lakes Road America. June is jam-packed with non-stop racing action. Don't miss a minute of the fun. Camp on site all weekend long and enjoy free admission for kids 16 and under. Up next is Moto America's Superbike Series and Vintage Moto Fest weekend, June 2nd through the 4th. Get your tickets today at roadamerica.com. Come for the experience and stay for the race. Road America, America's national park of speed.
After surviving their second straight must-win, the Celtics face yet another must-win, this time in Game 6. Will they survive? Or will the Heat finally put them away and advance to the NBA Finals? Coverage begins tomorrow at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Still getting lots of your old school favorites. In retrospect, I should have gotten to that earlier in the program. Good stuff. So thank you for those.
Yet?
We have gotten a Ben Sheets reference, yes. Now,
a lot of Jeff Jenkins on the text
yeah,
line
that's
coming in
another
late.
good one.
Yeah,
that is a good one. Speaking of good ones, time now for Whoa Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning, I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde Tausch.
So I've been invited to a dad chiller party this weekend. Dad chiller party. An expecting father, along with his wife. They're having a baby shower in the morning, where a lot of the ladies and her friends are invited. And then the guys are coming over later in the day, having a cookout, bringing a case of beer and a package of diapers. Have you ever heard of anything like this before? Because I mentioned it to my dad yesterday or earlier this week, and he's like, "What the heck is that?" But I have heard of this before. That other people have thrown these kinds of parties. It wasn't a new concept to me. Justin, Jason, have you ever heard of it?
I have never heard of that. That is new to me.
And what exactly are you doing? Like, obviously, baby shower is very common. My experience has been that those have now become all gender events. Husbands and wives come.
Baby showers?
Yeah.
I was going to ask. Yeah, a very good friend of mine announced she's pregnant and said, "Hey, I need the address to send for your invite to the baby shower." And I thought, I'll go, but is that common?
I think that's kind of where we're at. I think very common now. But apparently not with Jesse's friends, who are dividing their baby shower and dad chiller party.
Yeah.
Well, that's a real you're pretty good with words, Jesse. Like, you come up with pretty catchy titles and stuff. That feels like a stretch to me.
We should bring this full circle with today's discussion and get Brandon Chiller to show up to the dad chiller party.
So, I mean, the whole concept is, if you think of a bachelor party, it's like your last party before you get married. Your last time you're going out with all your friends, even though it's not really true. It's just a good excuse. So this is, I think, really more realistic than a bachelor party, where it's like, oh, you're not going to be able to go out anymore because you're getting married. Like, that's not what this is. You're going to go out or you're going to have a big party because you're probably not going to have a big party anymore once that baby's born in a month or so. So I think it's actually more realistic than a bachelor party. I think the dad chiller party, if you have to go all in on one or the other, the dad chiller party should replace the bachelor party.
That's an unpopular take.
Good luck selling that to the masses.
I want both, but I think if you're saying it's your last party before blank, like, do you need a party before you get married, or do you need a party before you have your first kid? No doubt to me, the answer is you need that party before your first kid, because that's life-changing stuff there. Like, a lot of times, especially these days, people are living with their significant other before they get married. Nothing really changes when you get married. Everything changes when you have a kid.
You've probably matured a little more and have moved further and further away from your partying ways when you're on the doorstep of becoming a parent, that it's probably, I don't even do that anymore for the most part.
I just don't understand why they have to be separate events. And again, if they're avid listeners to the program, thank you for listening, but I'm confused as to why they just, like, you're married? You and Becca could go together? Like, I just don't, I mean, she's gone for another, 6 months, but if she was in town, like, I just, whoa, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly!
Well, here's the other thing. It's in the Chicago area. We're told the dad chiller party starts at 5, and then I said, how long do you think this is going to go? Do we need to make, should we plan on staying over somewhere? Should we get a place? Are we going to drive back? And he said, 8 or 9. If you're driving 2 or 3 hours,
getting worse.
If you're driving 2 or 3 hours from out of state to go to a party, and it's only going to last 2 or 3 hours, I know Tausch would do that for a baseball game based on yesterday's conversation. That party's got to last more than 2 or 3 hours, right? It feels like that's short.
Yeah, you're. I just don't get it. I'm not gonna. I just can't. I can't fake it. I don't understand it. Good luck with your bachelor party, though.
Whoa, Nelly!
What are you shaking your head doing the whoof thing for?
I don't like what exactly you got to do too at this. Like, we know what happens at bachelor and bachelorette parties.
Yeah, no, it's like a Memorial Day weekend cookout. Like it's a tame party, and then if you want to go out, like I think the reason for making it more of a similar to a bachelor party is that if the guys want to go out and bar hop or anything at night, like Patrick is my friend, his wife AJ. Like, she's having the bridal shower, or now I'm doing it, the baby shower in the morning. So if she, she probably even want to go bar hop if she's 8 months pregnant, so she can do her thing, stay at home.
It's not even a bachelor party. It's basically Saturday, is what you're saying.
Memorial Day weekend Saturday, yes.
Whoa, Nelly!
You know what? Sorry for bringing it up.
We accept your apology.
Yeah. Tomorrow is National Grape Day. Maybe you'll celebrate that instead. Is grape the best fruit flavor for any candy or popsicle or anything of the like?
All right, I'm sorry. We're done. We're not doing this anymore.
Whoa, Nelly!
I'm calling it audible because as much as I could talk about grape soda and bachelor parties all day, I have a bone to pick with our friend Ashton Rotman.
Uh-oh.
Now, I love Ashton. Ron in the Key called earlier asking me if I would be willing to come down to the Rott's Hots hot dog truck to celebrate with him. Not after what happened yesterday. So,
what happened yesterday?
Yesterday, and to be honest, I am going to have a patient that I'm going to have to look out for in a few hours when he comes home from the vet's hospital to be taken care of. But we had the final of our cats, who was added most recently and has cost us by far the most money because of his self-destructive behavior, undergo surgery this week. And I happened to tell the story on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You can find it on Wisconsin On Demand, presented by Group Law Offices. But basically, our vet clinic, Riverside Animal Hospital, is great. When you have an expensive event occur, they allow you to pay in installments because, seriously, I cannot foot the bill in one fell swoop for this idiot cat. Also named AJ, much like your mom-to-be for your bachelor party.
How about that?
But we got into a discussion with Gabe and Chewy about the top end you're willing to spend on health care for your pet. And Ashton Rotman asked, and I'm quoting here, "Isn't it cheaper to just get a new pet?" And he defended himself by saying, well, I asked the tough questions. Which, thank you for your service.
Someone's got to do it.
But I understand that we have more pets than your average family. Far more.
Yeah.
But that said, this is it. I want to be clear. This is not even the cat that I like. He's kind of a jerk. But how am I going to look my children in the eye and say, yeah, we decided it was cheaper to put him down? I mean... Come on, Ashton!
Bring home a new cat. It's a lot easier to say that.
Yeah, or just say he ran away. Yeah, it was...
He's up on a farm.
Got him in the car, and as soon as we got to the vet, he just took off, and he's gone.
So, Ashton, both Justin and I, while we try to act like we don't, we both love you. But I appreciate that you were trying to be the villain on the show yesterday. But I have a few pets in my house who would like a word with you.
It sounds like you could have those pets have a word with them when you're down visiting Rott's Hots this weekend getting a hot dog.
So I can't leave the pay. I have to go pick up AJ. I have to help continue to nurse him back to health and obviously find an extra job to be able to pay off our debt. All right.
Sounds like he's not moving too fast. Maybe he'd appreciate a little ride.
He can just sit in the car while I eat hot dogs. Jesse, you need to pick this week's trivia winner before we get to Feel Good Friday, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints.
I do. Poker chips, Post-it notes all in hand. I have selected number 2, which is our winner, a first-time contestant, Garrett in Oregon. Tuesday's contested, first-timer and a winner.
Well, that is a little feel-good story, and we'll have some more feel-good stories for you to wrap up the week. It's Feel Good Friday, painted by Home and Lindsay Paint. Next, it's Wilde Tausch.
This is Wilde Tausch, brought to you by Grassland Butter. Grassland Dairy is Wisconsin. Learn more at grasslandbutter.com.
Mark Tauscher here, and as we head into a long weekend and the unofficial start of summer, I sure hope you're feeling good on this Feel Good Friday on Wilde Tausch, painted by Home and Lindsay Paints. What's as good as a long weekend spent with family and friends? Well, how about the fantastic work you know you can count on from the pro painters at Home and Lindsay Paints? As you get ready for the summer paint project around your home, you'll be feeling good if you make Home and Lindsay your first stop. And it is so easy to get connected with Home and Lindsay's pro painter. Just like my family did, all you have to do, stop into any Home and Lindsay store, ask, and they'll connect you with the pros that best fit what your project calls for. And remember, Wisconsin's best painters use Wisconsin's best paint. Check them out at HallmanLindsay.com. That's HallmanLindsay.com. Hallman Lindsay, great paint, great people. And stay tuned for Feel Good Friday coming up to close out the show, painted by Hallman Lindsay Paints.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by the Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's home for craft beer and pub food since 1994. Find the Great Dane nearest you at greatdanepub.com. The Wisconsin men's basketball team has announced a 2-year home-and-home series with the University of Arizona beginning this upcoming season. The Badgers will travel to Tucson, Arizona on December 9th of this year, while the Wildcats will come to Madison on November 15th of 2024. Wisconsin and Arizona have only met 7 times in history, with the 2 most recent games being back-to-back Elite 8 wins by Wisconsin in the 2014 and 2015 NCAA tournaments. Wisconsin leads the all-time series 5-2.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Join us at the Madison Parade of Homes, exclusively sponsored by Nuns, June 16th to 25th. Visit and get inspired. Go to MadisonParadeOfHomes.com and purchase your tickets today.
Just look at them. State-of-the-art Honda hybrids, making ecological art out of any conditions they encounter. Rugged, dependable, stylish performance with fuel efficiency and low emissions that'll make a tree hugger blush. What's this phenomenon you're witnessing? It's the future, today. Electrified driving built for Wisconsin. Get your Honda hybrid now at your Wisconsin Heartland Honda dealer. Honda gets Wisconsin.
Your friend could tell you to go to TLC Laser Eye Centers for LASIK. But when your eye doctor tells you to go to TLC Laser Eye Centers for LASIK, you book your consultation. TLC has performed over 2.3 million LASIK procedures nationally, and that includes treatment for over 10,000 doctors. LASIK takes minutes, with most patients back to normal activities the next day. So come see why TLC Laser Eye Centers is the doctor's choice for LASIK.
Right now, TLC is offering $1,000 off their Wavelight laser when treated in June. That's $500 off per eye. So call 888-TLC-2020 or visit SaveOnTLC.com. That's SaveOnTLC.com. The doctor's choice for LASIK. Must mention this promotion and be treated in June of 2023 to qualify. $1,000 off for both eyes on standard Wavelight price. $500 off for one eye. Cannot be combined with any other offers. See details at SaveOnTLC.com.
Since 1956, Hallman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Hallman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Hallman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Hallman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
You gotta get down on Friday. It's time to finish the week off right. It's Feel Good Friday on Wilde Tausch, painted by Hallman Lindsay.
Hey,
is time for Feel Good Friday, painted by Holman Lindsay Paints. It's always a feel-good day on Wilde and Tausch when Justin Garcia is our cousin sub of the day. And so we'll let him go first with his Feel Good Friday.
Wow, I have two of them here. One is very pat on the back, but Syria and Saudi Arabia normalizing their diplomatic relations recently here. That has opened the door for Sami Zayn to appear at Night of Champions tomorrow, the WWE Premium Live event. Sami Zayn, in all honesty, has done a lot, donated his WrestleMania paychecks to causes in Syria. He is Syrian by descent and hasn't been able to participate in any of his events the past few years because of that relationship. So good to see him back there on the main stage.
That's not a fake story.
That is not a fake story. That is actual
hard to
true
tell
story.
with wrestling, but thank you. That's a good story.
Yes. And the other quick one, pat on the back, we have just finalized some plans. If you want to see something like this live and in person, the final week of June, we are doing a live show in Milwaukee, location to be announced shortly. It'll be myself, Kane Pittman, Frank Madden, our pal Eric Name, and Camille Davis doing a live Bucks show at an establishment to be named the final week of June.
I hope the Rots Hots truck is outside. All right. Mine is a very simple one, too, and we spent some time earlier this week talking about Michael Block and what a great story he was at the PGA Championship. Disappointing ending, but I want to give a shout-out to Ben Chan, who is a St. Norbert College professor who had his 9-game winning streak on Jeopardy snapped in controversial fashion. I wish you were still playing, Professor Chan, but well done on a great run on one of our favorite game shows. Jesse?
Wait, this guy was on Jeopardy? We didn't even talk about it all week? He was winning all... What?
Yeah. I don't know if a producer was on top of things, he'd have been a guest.
Jeez. I didn't even know this was going on. It is Memorial Day weekend, so as much as we love to joke about it on Wilde and Tausch, for all of the veterans and members of the armed forces and all of these service members out in the world that enjoy our show, on behalf of Jason and Tausch and everyone, thank you for your service.
A sincere
legitimately
thank you for your service.
Thank you for all that you do for us and for our country. Thank you.
And for those of you that don't know, we say that sarcastically because what we do is not nearly as important as what you do and many others do. We're just a couple of goofballs doing a radio show. All right, that's it for us this week. Justin, thank you for your service by stepping in for the show today. It is always great to spend time with you. I can't wait to attend that to-be-named later event later next month. That's it for us this week. We will be back on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about